아, 이 앞에 내용 다 설명해드려야겠네. 자, 이번에 할 게임은 포같은 시티라는 게임이고요. 더 포같은 시티. 스카이림 퀘스트 중에 하나가 있는데 그 스토리를 기반으로 게임을 만들었다고 하더라고요. 3명이서 4년 동안 개발했다고 하는데 사람들 평이 좋거든요. 그래서 한번 해보기로 했고요. 일단 원래 앞선 내용이 있는데 지금 사운드가 조금 에러가 있어가지고 그 부분은 건너뛰었고요. 대충 앞에 내용 설명드리자면, 주인공이 갑자기 강가에서 강가에 흘러 내려가던 거 어떤 여자가 구해줬는데, 그 여자가 이제 이 로마 유적지에서 엘이라는 사람을 찾아달래요. 근데 엘이라는 사람 어디 갔냐고 물어봤더니 뒤에 있는 로마 유적지로 갔다 그래가지고 다 무너진 로마 유적지 이렇게 탐방 갔는데, 엘이라는 사람은 이미 무슨 황금 조각상이 돼서 죽어버려 있었고, 엘이 남긴 편지를 읽어보니까 여기 뭐 과거라서 뭘 이렇게 저렇게 하다 보면 너도 언젠가 내 꼴이 날 거다 이러면서 저주를 퍼부으면서 주인공은 떠날 방법을 찾는 건데, 떠날 곳이 없어가지고 결국 과거로 와버렸다. 뭔 개소리인지 모르겠지만 여튼 그런 내용입니다. 일단 과거로 왔으니 일단 과거에서부터 다시 하도록 하겠습니다.
Salve, friend.
갈레리우스.
Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
뭐 하는지 물어봐도 될까? 근데 여기 로마면은 영어를 안 쓰지 않나요? 로마도 영어 써?
What?
라틴?
I'm speaking Latin. You are too.
아, 약간 자동 통역 되나 보다.
Oh,
역시
I
이세카이.
see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who
뭐야?
are you and what were you doing in the shrine?
성수에 들어가 있으면 안 돼요? 프로세르피나는 누구야?
Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime. You're not from around here, are you? And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you?
아이,
One more time.
대화의 주제를 바꾸려는 게 아니라 진짜 물어보는 건데. 거짓말하거나 진실을 말하거나 하는데, 그냥 여기선 거짓말하는 게 낫지 않을까? 미래에서 왔다 그러면 믿겠냐?
Oh, is that right? Well, just make sure you don't get lost in any other sacred places you're not supposed to be.
진실 말하면 안 되지. 미친 사람 취급받지. 실수로 신들어 욕보이면 안 되겠지. 근데 내 옷차림 보면은 여기 사람 아니라는 거 바로 눈에 띌 텐데.
You seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along.
법을 따르면 우리 모두 무사할 거야. 당신들의 법이요?
Not laws, law.
황금류?
There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in.
시한 판사.
So then, are you coming?
좀 둘러보게 제가 직접 갈게요.
Look, you
네.
seem like you might need a little.
아, 내가 헛짓거리 할까봐?
And I'd feel a lot more comfortable if I showed you the
좀
way.
둘러보려고 그랬는데. 표정이 좀 불안한 거 보니까 같이 따라가는 게 낫겠죠? 좋습니다. 갑시다.
When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But
과거에는 여기가 동굴이
we've got a
아니었네.
nice little community now.
여기는 천장이 탁 트여있네요. 뭐야,
Only
떨어질
23 of us
뻔했네.
at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since
최종배
nobody
3명까지
knows the
합해서
way out.
23명만 남았다.
But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend,
아이,
Galerius?
이 아줌마 눈썰미 좀 좋구만. 그래, 내가 좀 잘생겼지.
I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate.
여기도 황금
for much
동상은
longer.
있네요. 이거
Anyone
갖다
who
팔면
comes
돈 좀
to
되겠다.
hotel today
뭐야?
drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it and her if I were you.
일단 이 친구 따라갑시다.
It's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever
농장?
want. As long as all you want is leek,
저게
cabbage, and
농장이야?
wheat.
밭 엄청 조그만하네.
That one usually gets a chuckle.
The
Well.
bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's
젊은이도
just been
나중에
in that
뭔가
place
예언가
since-
역할을 하는 그런 사람 아닐까?
Well,
뭐야 이거?
you know, I don't know.
아무것도 훔치지 마라. 아무것도 해치지 마라. 아무도. 누가 썼는지 모르지만 완성하지 못한 모양이다.
Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon,
네가 있으면 저
it
밑에
belongs way
던져버리라고.
down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the
왼쪽에는
market
광장.
or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the shrine of Apollo.
좀 둘러보고 싶은데 얘가 너무 빨리빨리
Most of
가가지고
us
둘러볼
have
수가 없네.
almost nothing. Just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live. So don't expect a warm welcome.
Hilarious. You're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go.
호라티우스.
You better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me.
아 얘는 약간 속물이다 이건가?
What was that?
어쨌든 기름방이죠 양반.
It'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius.
얘는 귀족을
Magistrate
호위하는
Celsius asked me to
그거
escort
같은데?
you to him personally. Follow me, please.
얘가 로마 군단병인 것 같아요. 싫은데요. 저를 부르는 이유가 뭡니까?
I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the golden rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later
오늘
today.
선거 날이요? 싫은데요.
I'm afraid I have to insist.
궁금한 게 있어요.
Alright. Well, I can't force you.
뭐야? 아 진짜 안 갈 수도 있는 거야? 아 저 갈게요.
Pleased with either of us.
가는 게 좋을 것 같은데. 황금률을 어떻게 생각하십니까? 여기서 나가는 법을 아십니까? 시한 판사는 어떤 분인가요?
He's one of the better commanders I've ever had. That's for sure.
아 만날 걸.
He's stoic. Lives
뭐
by
하는
his
분인지도
words.
모르는데.
Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that.
여기서 나가는 법을 아십니까?
I went around asking the same questions when I first arrived. Never did find a way out.
여기 들어오는 방법은 있지만 나가는 건 없나 봐.
To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That's from Seneca the Younger, if you're interested.
황금률을 어떻게 생각하십니까?
Well, as I always say, it's kind of like a divine version of the practice of decimation in the Legion. By threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, the idea is to ensure order and discipline among everyone. And it works. If you knew you could be executed because your brother-in-arms is planning a mutiny, well, you'd bloody well
약간
watch him like hundred-eyed Argus, wouldn't you? Because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop bad things before they happen. Makes us
그거인 것
all
같은데요. 하나가
responsible
잘못하면 다
for
같이
keeping in check.
책임지는 그 뭐였지?
It's
그거
brutal, of course.
뭐라 그랬더라 그거?
Legion wouldn't be the most formidable force in the world without it.
연좌제? 연좌제.
War crime. Isn't that a contradiction in terms? As Cicero said, in times of war the law falls silent.
그건
Seems
정말
that
많이
way.
다르네요.
War crimes. Ridiculous.
그래서 황금률에 찬성하신 거예요?
What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers in arms, and those memories will always visit me in my sleep. But life is harsh, and I've come to accept my lot. As with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it. So railing against it would be like trying to stop the seasons.
법이니까
or
어쩔
the
수 없이
tides.
따른다 이런 건가?
As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have.
이 사람은 왜 이렇게 남의 말을 인용을 잘하냐?
For he that is so wants nothing.
자기 의견이 없어. 다 남의 말을 인용해.
If you like,
누구에게 투표하실 거예요?
not that it's any of your business, but my loyalty is and always
정치
will be
신념 확실하고.
Unfortunately, I don't think my vote is going to make any difference today.
별 소용없다고.
See, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with lies, bribery, and intimidation. The man's a savage, but he's a
검투사.
gladiator, so people fear him.
생각보다 맨 처음에 말 들어올 때 검투사 동상 보이지
knows
않았나?
about it, of
그 놈인가?
course, but he doesn't have the same rat cunning as Malleolus. This place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. But I try not to worry about things I can't change.
뭐 좀 도와드릴까요?
I appreciate the thought. But you're new here.
그럴 건 그렇네.
I just can't
내가
see
와서
how you
지금
could make an impact
뭘 할
in
수
the time
있겠어.
between now and the election this afternoon. In any case, if you're interested in the election, go and have a chat with Equitia, the Vestal Priestess. She'll be overseeing proceedings.
사연을 듣고 말레 올로스를 선거에서 떨어뜨릴 방법을 알아내라. 사연을 듣고
I'm a
싶습니다.
legionary of the First Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughter, I should say, and the others, and making sure they're all behaving. I also keep a register of new
그냥
arrivals.
FM 장군 느낌이네요. 그냥 어떻게 여기로 오게 된 겁니까? 나처럼 저 구덩이에서
I'm from
빠졌나?
Liguria, up north originally. I was doing all right for myself. 12 years into my service. Had a nice girl lined up for when it was all over. Not anymore. She's probably figured I'm long gone and moved on by now. I try not to think about it. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, I thought I'd do something nice for my girl and pick up a little pendant from a silversmith. That's when the crowd started flooding through the streets, shouting fire. People were screaming, trampling each other. Then some genetricum fugitive tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river.
얘도 강가까지 도착한 이후로
Nothing.
어느 순간
Backed
여기로
out
와버린
and
건가?
woke up near here. No idea how I ended up floating so far downriver. But I'm fortunate to be alive, I suppose.
그거 참 유감이군요.
don't be. As Seneca the Younger said, difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body. That said, Sentilla's
센틸라의
disappearance has
실종사건.
been more difficult than I'd care to admit.
시민 명부를 봐도 될까요? 내가 그럴 권한이 있어?
I don't see why not.
아 진짜?
Just
봐도
make
된다고?
sure I get it back by tomorrow.
아니 얘네 외지인한테 너무 도시의 모든 시민을 알파벳 순서로 정렬해놓은 정렬에 기록한 명부. 아 얘네가 왜 외지인한테 이렇게 개방적인 줄 알겠다. 여기 어차피 들어오면 나가질 못하니까 니도 이미 우리 가족이다 이건가 이제? 들어오는 순간? 아우렐리아 나가는 길을 안다고 주장. 빈민가 주점. 응? 이러면 아우렐리아를 먼저 찾아가 봐야 되는 거 아닌가? 클라우디아, 데시오스. 네? 3명밖에 없어요? 아 아니다. 파비아. 더 보여줘요. 아 모르고 클릭해버렸다.
Of course.
다시 못 본다.
All right.
가볼게요. 다시 못 보나 그거? 종이? 퀘스트 목표 마크를 보려면 퀘스트 옆 눈동자 아이콘을 누르십시오. 이렇게 다 볼 수 있네요. 시민명부 여기 있다. 아까 다 못 봐가지고. 도미티우스, 두일리우스, 창고의 투옥함, 에퀴티아. 애들이 다 어디 있는지를 알 수 있네요. 거주지 같은 게 있어가지고 얘한테 볼 일 있으면 그쪽으로 가면 되나봐. 한니발 수조 안에서 죽었나? 계급 외국인. 나도 계급 외국인으로 돼 있겠네. 카바시 사라짐. 율리아, 레비아 직무를 거부하고 있음. 미용사. 노예라니. 말레올로스 대금업. 믿으면 안됨. 평가봐라. 나에비아 스스로 궁전에 갇힘. 갈수록 불안한 모습을 보임. 루피우스 안전상의 이유로 저택을 나가지 못함. 센티아 센틸라 실종됨. 아까 센틸라 실종 사건 있다고 그랬죠? 실종. 센티우스 치안판사. 울피우스 베르길. 도시에 사람이 그렇게 많지가 않은 것 같은데? 야 치안판사 만나러 가보고 싶은데 치안판사 어디 사냐? 내가 아까는 그냥 호기심이 한번 안 만나본다 그랬는데 진짜 안 만나게 해줄 줄이야. 판사님 어디 계세요? 저희 말씀 좀 나눕시다. 어디 계시지? 이분이 판사님은 아닌 것 같은데?
Ugh, this place has become a thoroughfare.
뭐야? 뭔 뜻이지 그게? 무지렁이?
I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in
무지렁이?
here. What do you want?
황금률 어떻게 생각해요?
You know, some people say it's the creation of an all-seeing God who's watching everything we do. But what kind of an awful, incompetent God would let my sister go missing on his or her watch?
불평하는 것 치곤 너무 편한 자세로 계시네요. 혹시 모르니 신을 모욕하는 말은 자제하는 게 좋지 않을까요? 나도 얘한테 꼽줘야지.
Oh, I'd say it to their faces if they had the courage to show themselves. Did you hear that? Curse you, you coward! Where is
많이
my
화났네.
sister? What do you have to say for yourself? No response. Nothing. That's what I thought.
이러다 무신론자 되겠네 얘는. 적어도 신성모독으로는 황금률이 깨지지 않는다는 걸 알았네요.
I'm telling you, this mysterious god of ours has to be asleep on the job. Either that, or like people are saying, it really is just a children's fable my father is exploiting to frighten us into behaving.
언젠가 됐든 진실을 알게 되겠죠.
I suppose we will.
그래서 여기서 나가는 법은 아세요?
What is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and
아니 얘가
figure I
피해망상증이
know a way
좀
out.
심하네.
Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone.
뭐 일단 도와는 드릴까?
I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies?
하피. 센티우스, 센티아, 센틸라? 이름들이 왜 그렇게 비슷한 거예요?
You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding
아,
us.
우리나라
Like
이름처럼
cattle
이름
to be sold at
돌림자 있잖아요. 그런 거
His
같은데.
family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest. And my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Scintilla.
근데 침착하시네요.
Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa, wasting energy.
그래.
I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance.
허세? 저한테 숨기시는 게 있는 것 같은데요.
Oh, you're awful.
어.
Get out of my villa and never speak to me again.
아저씨 죄송합니다.
Do I need to ask Horatius to escort you out of here? Get out, you horrid barbarian.
말씀 너무 지나치시네 이 아줌마. 이름도 모르는데. 모르겠다. 조졌다. 관계 조졌다. 삽. 청동으로 만들어진 로마 시대의 부사. 제 냄새가 난다. 가져갈 수 있는 건 아니네요. 화덕. 통풍이 이렇게 안 되는 데서 요리를 하기란 정말 불편하겠지만 로마인들에겐 그런 건 하인들이나 할 걱정이었을 것이다. 그러네. 여기 통풍도 안 되는데 여기서 요리하면은 야 힘들겠다. 배웠고요. 판사님 방은 어디지? 이 위에인가? 판사님이 아니라 장군님 아니야 이거? 치안 판사.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name?
아틀란입니다.
A curious name to match a curious accent.
감히 내 이름 보고 뭐라
But I
그래?
digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago.
비밀스러운 소리. 그래 뭐 아름답네요. 예.
More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working
22명.
together.
마을 시민들이 22명밖에 없는 거야?
And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fight.
22명밖에 없는데 도시라고 할 수 있는 건가?
Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin?
싸움도 도둑질도 없었어. 자네는 이렇게 훌륭한데 범죄가 하나도 없는 도시를 본 적 있나? 아니요, 이런 걸 훌륭하다고 하는 도시를 본 적이 없는데요.
Nor could I until I came here. But the reason
이걸
for
보시다고
this
부르는 것 자체가
miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every
한
last
명이라도
one
죄를
of
지으면
us
우리 모두 죽는
will
게요.
die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible
메두사
punishment.
미다스의 저주를 합친 것 같은
Like the
끔찍한 처벌을
curses of
받게 됩니다.
Medusa and Midas combined,
금이
turning
돼버린다고.
us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions.
누군가가 황금률을 깨트리려
Ask
한다.
away.
근데 황금률을 어기는 행위들이 대체 뭐야?
An intelligent question.
뭔데?
There was a good deal of debate about that in our first.
아, 얘네도 정확하게 모르는 건가?
Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no
도둑질,
murder.
폭행,
But
금지,
beyond that, it
살인도 안
was
되고,
more difficult to reach a consensus.
거짓말,
What about
모욕하는 거.
lying?
신성모독은 아까 확인했죠. 아, 상관없는 거.
Trespass, trying to escape, bribery,
신에 대한 불신도 확인했고,
suicide.
신성모독하고 신에 대한 불신 빼도 돼.
To exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries.
좋은 생각인지는 잘 모르겠네요. 법이 언제나 도덕적인 건 아니니까요. 그리고 당신들의 법과 간섭은 내가 온 곳에선 야만적이라고 여겨지거든요. 법을 지키는 게 야만적인 건 아니지 않나? 관습은 모르겠지만.
I'm glad you agree. The key things to remember are that we have laws forbidding treason,
반역, 신성모독, 살인, 폭행, 강간절도, 방화. 그러니까 우리가 상식적으로 해야 되지 말아야 할 거는 다 범죄로 취급하는 것 같아요.
Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you.
왜 직접 조사를 하지 못하는 거죠?
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me,
나라면 이런 밀폐된 공간에선 제일 처음 온 사람을 경계할 것 같은데.
Not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You
자,
shouldn't
신분권으로
have that.
써먹겠다는 거죠.
Unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot.
물론 말을 잘못하면 당연히 의심은 받겠지만 대화 선택지도 잘해야 된다는 뜻이겠네. 아까처럼 막 잡고 막 헛새 떨고 꼽주면은 대화 바로 끊기는 것 같아요. 그래서 뭐 의심 가는 대상은
You ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes.
자기는 색안경 끼고 보게 되니까 내가 신선한 눈으로 새롭게 봐야 된다 이건가?
The better.
황금률을 깨려온 게 당신이 아닌지 어떻게 합니까? 넌 아니지?
What reason could you possibly have to suspect me of all people?
아,
I'm glad you think
그런가?
so. Without trust, without each other, we won't
이
be
치안
able to
판사는 믿어도
prevent
되는 걸까?
what is about to happen.
센틸라의 실종과 연관이 있는 걸까요?
Ah, so you know about that.
이 실종도 근데 범죄라면
It's
얘네 이미 다 환급률에 의해서 환급이 됐어야 되는 거
that
아니야?
was over 3 weeks ago, and whatever happened to her, it didn't break the golden rule. So I don't think it's connected with our imminent demise. Still, if you happen to find her,
혹시 범죄로 인해서 센틸라가 실종됐다면 얘네가 다 황금이 됐겠지? 진심을 솔직하게 말씀해 주시죠.
well, all right. There are those who wish to vote me out of office so that they can pursue their own misguided political agenda. Frankly, their selfishness and recklessness risk destabilizing the entire city. I would be looking very carefully at them if I were you.
제가 도와드리면 원래 시간대로 돌아가도록 도와주실 건가요? 얘가 무슨 능력이 있어서 날 원래 시간대로 되돌려 보내주냐?
If I understand Prosperina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain.
저절로 해결된다고?
If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the golden rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be
되돌려 보내준다 이런 개념보다는 할 일 다 했으니까 쫓겨난다 이런 느낌인데.
Make sense?
아 그런 거 같네요. 프로세피나가 저를 보냈다는 게 무슨 말이죠? 설마 네가 나소환했냐?
You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew
맞네,
that
얘가 나 소환한 것 같은데?
was you. You don't belong in our time, do you?
아씨 그래 날 소환까지 했으니까 진실을 말해줘야겠지.
2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please tell me, in your time,
어허 미래를 알면 안 되죠 영감님.
what did you see?
도시 개판
What
났던데.
had become of us, of this city?
신뢰가 필요하다 그랬으니까 일단 진실을 말해줄게요. 니네 모두
I had
돈덩어리가 됐다.
our doubts,
갖다 팔면 비싸지는 놈들이 됐지.
but it still breaks my heart to hear.
도금일까 아니면 속까지 금인 걸까? 좀 중요한데. 그 의식은 어떻게 하는 겁니까? 의식 과정은 혹시 모르니까
All
알아둘까?
I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions.
재물을
I have
바쳐야지.
to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather
Okay.
more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future?
신전 안에서 사람의 유해를 보긴 했습니다. 사실 못 봤는데 있었나?
I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you?
일단 뭐 나도 돌아가야 되니까 최선은 다해보죠.
Suppose that's all I can ask for.
됐어.
Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the golden rule?
선택의 여지가 없는 것 같은데요?
No, I don't suppose you do. But I'm hoping that even if you're not burdened with a sense of self-sacrifice, you'll at least see the sense in self-preservation.
좋은 지적이네요. 하겠습니다.
Now, I need you to investigate this.
신뢰를 얻을 수 있다면 일도 좀 도와줘.
Everyone.
미안하지만 방금 아래층에 있던 여자의 신뢰는 이미 잃어버렸다.
I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is.
뭐야,
and as soon as you
선택한
have
게
a
있네요.
name, come back and tell me immediately.
아, 내가 애들 조사해가지고 이제 고발해야 되나봐.
If I were you, I'd start my
Lucretia?
investigation by visiting Lucretia at the shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. seems like something's not right.
신규 퀘스트를 우선시하는 선택지입니다. 선택 시 해당 퀘스트의 마크만 표시됩니다. 일단은 이 루트를 따라가 볼게요. 한번. 저기구만. 야, 근데 무슨 마을에 사람이 22명밖에 없냐?
If you're snooping around in my possessions,
Oh.
you're wasting your time.
아, 뭐 우리 서로 신뢰하는 관계라더니 자기 물건 조금 건드리려니까 아주 그냥 개정색을 하네. 어? 야, 우리 신뢰하는 사이라며. 개정색하네. 물건 가까이 방 살짝 한 발자국 들어갔는데 이거 맞아? 어? 이거 맞냐고. 신뢰하는 사이라며. 저렇게까지 정색 빠는 거 보면 뭐가 있는 거 아닐까? 그죠? 뭔가 수상해. 왜 저렇게 정색을 하지? 그냥 한 발자국 들어갔을 뿐인데. 너 뭐 숨겼지? 응? 센틸라의 편지. 센틸라가 센티우스에게 입양해줘서 고맙다고 적은 편지. 아, 요약본이 있네. 오른쪽 밑에. 사람들 3줄 이상 안 읽으니까 이제 요약본을 써놨네. 하지만 전 전부 읽어볼게요. 센틸라가 센티우스에게 가장 위대하신 유피테르께서 그들을 가호하고 인도하시길 절 딸로 받아주셔서 고마워요. 그냥 진짜 고맙다는 편지네요. 뭔 서신 같은 게 있고. 센티우스의 보관함? 훔치는 건 좀 그렇지 않나? 라라리움. 작은 성소. 돈을 쓸 데가 있나 보네요. 돈도 루팅이 되는 거니까. 그 외에는 딱히 쓸만한 거 안 보이고, 만약 돈이 필요하면은 이 아저씨 금고에서 빼가서 쓰는 걸로 할게요. 아니, 그 뭐냐, 일을 맡겼으면은 그 비용은 줘야지. 그죠? 쟨 뭐냐? 너 뭐야? 얘 검투사인가?
What were you two talking about?
어? 죄송한데 뭐라 하셨죠?
Don't play dumb. I saw you.
허허, 치안 판사님한테 센티우스 할배라고 하네 그냥.
What's he offering you? Money? Favors? What's your vote worth to him?
얘가 그 반대파 중 한 명이구나 보니까. 당신한테 얼마나 가치가 있죠?
The spit of a fauna career.
아, 필요한 표는 이미 다 확보해놨다고.
Mark my words. Malleolus is going to be magistrate.
이미 작업 다 쳐놨나봐.
And if I tell him you sided with that feeble old has-been, that you've been trying to undermine his hard-won victory, you'll have picked the wrong patron. Got it?
근육 봐라. 사람 하나는 쉽게 당구겠는데. 방해할 생각은 없었는데요. 지금은 생겼네. 아니야. 우리는 지금 사람들의 의심을 사선 안 돼요. 예.
Good. And stay out of it.
은밀하게, 조용하게, 친근하게 애들의 그 뭐냐 정보를 캐내야 돼요. 프레시가 아니라 총해야 된다고. 황금률을 어떻게 생각하시나요? 누구에게 투표하실 건가요? 얘는 뭐 물어봐봤자 뻔한 거고. 네 사연은 어떠냐? 도미티우스. 말로루스를 만나고 싶어요. 왜 검투사처럼 입고 있는 거죠?
Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why.
그렇군요. 근데 경기장이라고는 안 보이는데.
You want to see me fight?
뭐야?
Keep running your
화났나 봐.
malfactuous cunners.
아니, 그냥 옷 입고 있는 것 때문에 물어본 건데.
When Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see.
나가는 방법 아예 모르는 것 같고. 황금률 어떻게 생각하세요?
I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected.
황금률을 그냥 미신으로 여기고 있는 것 같네요.
He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see.
지금 말해주면 안 돼요?
Because if I tell you and it gets out,
입이 좀
it'll give
무겁네
our man
그래도.
Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans, and we can't have that.
얘를 도와주면 안 될 것 같긴 해요
Old
일단.
man said she's got you already, did he? Well, I'm not talking to people in his faction. Confortuare.
잠깐만 이러면 말레리오스 못 만나는 거 아니야? 얘가 대화 안 한다 그러면? 죄송합니다. 지금 다시 불었는데. 뭐야? 꺼지라는 것 같은데? 영어로 해주지 저거도. 여기도 열리네. 이게 뭐야? 빵이야? 사람이 23명밖에 없는데 뭐 이것저것 다 돌아갈 건 돌아가나봐. 아니 반대파 애들인데 도와줄까요? 할 순 없잖아요 제가. 도와준다고 하고 그냥 뒤에서 뒤통수 칠걸 그냥. 에티키야? 여기도 돈 있고. 여기는 뭐야? 뭘 인도를 해? 뭐야? 이거 퀘스트 길 모를까봐 안내까지 해주나보다. 게임 자체는 친절한데? 근데 뭐 길 잃어버리진 않았거든요 제가 아직. 얘한테 한번 말 걸어볼게요.
Isn't the great temple majestic? A new face, Arve,
예쁘네.
and may Vesta watch over you. I'm
에피티아.
Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
사연을 듣고 싶습니다.
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're
일단
from.
지르고 보나봐요.
I
그냥
suppose it's quite charming.
물어보는
in its
건데요.
own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?"
죄송합니다. 어떻게 해야 했을까요?
The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office.
너무 예의 없었다
by
이건가?
which time you would already
이놈들
know
피곤하네.
how to
총 들고 올 걸
address me.
그랬네.
And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like.
관습을 어기고 관습 집어치우고 내 방식대로 하자? 괜찮네. 여긴 어떻게 오시게 됐어요?
I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here?
카렌이라는 젊은 여자가 강물에 빠져 의식을 잃은 절 건져내서 여기로 보냈어요.
Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you.
예린 입장에선 이상한 이름이지. 제 고향에선 그 이름에 부정적인 의미가 있거든요. 부정적인 의미가 있다고?
Older. I see.
카렌이 왜 부정적인 의미야?
I wonder if... No.
무슨 말씀을 하시려 했던 건가요?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic.
이놈들 뭘 이렇게 숨기는 게 많아.
Have you spoken
이놈이고
with any of
저놈이고,
the
씨.
others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns.
은근히 유도하시는 것 같은데. 아니야, 이딴 선택지 골랐다가 또 대화 끊길지도 몰라.
Good. Thank you. But please be careful.
최대한
I just don't want to see what
둥둥 띄워줘야 돼요, 둥둥이. 리비아가 무슨 일을 당했죠?
Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes.
리비아가 그 미용사였나? 직무 거부하는 미용사?
So chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated.
보통 이런 이야기 속에는 저런 정신 나간 애들이 진실을 알고 있는 경우가 많죠. 가서 대화해볼 만한 가치는 있겠네요.
There is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? Thank you. Now, go and follow
세 가지
the thread
이상의
of truth
공통점?
through this labyrinth and come back to me if you discover any patterns.
일단 노력해보죠. 다른 거 저거 판사님이 먼저 하라고 했던 거 하는 게 좋을 것 같아. 황금률은 어떻게 생각하시나요?
I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear
아니
it?
이 누나 생각보다 좀 수다스러우시네. 짧게 요약해줄 수 있어요?
I suppose so. Jupiter and Mercury put a town to the test by disguising themselves as vagrants and asking for shelter there. Everyone turned them away and failed that test, except for an old couple named Baucis and Philemon. And so the gods gave them time to escape and granted them a wish, and then wiped that town off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest
접대 관습을 절대
friendship,
어겨서는 안
reciprocal
된다.
obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves.
신들이 시험을 통과하지 못했다는 이유로 그냥 죽여버릴 수 있다는 걸 시사하는지도 모르죠. 그들이 규칙을 말할 의무가 있는 것도 아니잖아요. 또 개같은 소리 하지 말고 그냥 동감입니다 해. 대화 끊기기 싫으면. 갑분싸 만들지 말고 밑에 선택지가 이 뭔가 길면은 갑분싸 선택지야 보면은. 반박하려고 하지 말라고 자꾸. 오케이, 일단 얘는 나가는 법 쥐뿔도 모를 것 같으니까 갑시다. 뭐 자꾸 속삭여. 일단은 신관 만나봅시다. 여기 동상돼 있는 애들이 설마 뭐 예전 과거에 이미 동상됐던 그런 애들 아니야 막? 동상이 너무 많은데? 뭐야? 루크레티아.
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Julia. She was a good woman.
율리아? 무슨 일이 있었죠?
She was poisoned.
독살당했다고?
She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says,
데시우스.
That'll be 1,000 denarii. There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly. Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall. But there's no way I can do that down here with the golden
황금률.
rule.
이렇게까지
So all I could do
안
is come
어기는구나.
back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath.
어떻게 독살했지 근데? 황금률을 피하면서 살인을 한 거잖아. 따지고 보면 어떻게 피했지?
Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that
황금률 애초에 그냥
silphium
미신인 거
resin.
아니야 진짜?
I'm going to have
황금으로 안
another
변하는 거 아니야?
patient in here soon. Could be in the next day or in the
실피움
next
수지를
hour.
가져다 달라고?
And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose
왜 나한테
another patient
사태질이에요?
this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that genetricum foot to toe and scratching
이번엔
his
진짜
eyes out.
죽여버리겠다 이건가? 센티우스에게 루크레티아가 의심된다고 말하라. 얘는 의심스러운 건 아닌 것 같은데.
Well, come back if you get sick or injured. Day or night, I'll do what I can.
퀘스트가 엄청 많을 것 같은데 이거. 이건 뭐야? 윤리와 수색하기. 수색해도 돼요? 이거 건드려도 돼요? 아이템 없음. 아쉽군.
May Apollo keep you safe.
뭐야? 데시우스 얘가 그 상인이야?
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth on the outside.
도둑놈 오피우스가 내 지갑을 훔쳐서 누군진 몰라도 문장을 마치지 못했다. 뭐하라 그랬냐고요? 아니 그 뭐 어떻게 죽었나 알아보려고 그랬지. 독살당했으니까 혹시 뭐 알아낼 수 있는 방법이 있나?
Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff. Salvation.
무슨 생각을 하신 거죠 도대체?
Welcome to our idyllic little slice of the empire. I'm Dacius. Terrible shame what happened to Yulia. But we just have to carry on.
지가 약 안 줘서 죽었는데. 일단 사연을 듣고 싶습니다. 정보부터 캐내자.
That is a lengthy tale.
드러나 봅시다.
Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare
어떻게 왔는지 알면은 좋은 거니까.
from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome, just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, hoping to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing through a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
아, 이 친구라면 수레를 골랐을 것 같은데, 그죠? 나라면 소녀를 골랐을 거거든요. 하지만 이 친구에게 공감대를 형성하기 위해서 수레를 선택할게요. 예. 저라면 소녀를 골랐습니다. 예. 하지만 공감대 형성을 위해서 수레를 고를게요.
Of course I chose the
그래
car.
그래.
I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money.
와,
So
또
I
살
put
수
my hand
있대.
in the car, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide.
와, 배신감
In one swift
개쩔겠다.
motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the tiber.
그래서 결국엔 데려갔어요?
No, I dived in after it, of course. Aren't you paying attention? That was a bloody fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here with nothing in the world but a single silver coin.
정당한 대가를 치른 것 같군요라고 하면 또 여기서 대화가 끊길 것 같으니까.
Thank you, friend. But it turns out it might have been a stroke of good fortune because this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you. There must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here.
나가는 법은 알아요? 근데 나갈 방법을 알아내기만 하면이라고 하는 거 보니까 모르니까 환급률은 어떻게 생각하세요?
Terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk.
웬 활? 활을 얻어라? 시안 판사님이 무기를 금하시지 않았나요?
Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet.
무기 얻으면 저 강가에다 던지라 그랬잖아.
Thank you, friend.
투표는 누구한테 하실 거예요?
Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us?
시안 판사 반대편이네요. 그러면 센티우스한테 투표하면 안 돼요?
Not going to happen.
활을 구해다 줘야 되나?
Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price.
나한테 똑같이 받네. 1000데나리. 1000데나리를 어디서 구할 수 있을까요?
That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work
5년?
hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years.
약으로 바가지를 쓰다니 뭐가
It's
문제입니까?
perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it.
아, 법만 안 어기면 끝이다? 가져가거라? 뭐야?
Here
들었어요?
what?
나한테만 들리는 것 같은데.
you sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Naevia on our hands.
나이비아는 뭔 일이 있었죠?
She claimed the statues were whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace, and we never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this silphium or not?
궁전으로 들어갈 방법을 찾아라. 제가 그냥 가져가면 어떨까요?
Well, if you did that, you'd break the golden rule, and we'd share the same fate as the last lot who lived here.
나도 황금률에 해당하나? 나도 어기면 안 되는 건가? 빼앗아 도망쳐. 일리가 있군요.
We agree on something. Now, do you want to make a purchase?
강제로 뭘 해서 좋을 건 없을 것 같아.
Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget. Very well. Another time.
한번 훔쳐볼까? 그냥? 나도 어겨도 되는지 안 되는지를 일단 알아야 될 것 같은데. 훔쳐보자. 어딨어 야. 야 니 가판대 어딨냐? 저건가? 아 얘네 말 믿어도 되나? 황금상으로 변했다는 거는 얘네도 뭔가 잘못해서 황금상으로 변한 거 아니야? 건드려도 되나? 야 쟤 오는 거 아니냐? 나 보이고 있는 거지 이거. 보이고 있는 거 같은데? 은신 상태로 뜨려면 어떻게 해야 되지? 앉아봐. 이게 은신 상태인가? 너무 대놓고 훔치면 안 될 것 같은데? 에라이. 뭐야?
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
뭐야? 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 황금색이 움직이기 시작했어. 뭐야 이거? 시한판사를 따라가거라. 뭐야 이거? 뭐 활 쏘는데? 누구한테 쏘는 거야? 뭐야? 도망쳐 일단. 여기 맞냐? 일로 가는 거 맞냐? 저기 성수 쪽으로 가야 되는 것 같은데. 손전등. 뭐야? 나 활 나한테 쏘는겨? 아니지, 나 아니지. 난가? 실패해가지고 얘가 자기 재물로 받쳐서 의식을 진행했네. 와, 이렇게 되는구나. 황금상이 움직이네? 쟤네 무슨 경비병이었던 거야 그러면? 물건 훔쳤더니 황금률 발동해가지고 지금 다시 되돌아왔어요. 설마 처음부터 대화 다 다시 나눠야 되는 거? 이 대화는 전에도 했었죠. 당신 이름은 갈레리우스고 날 센티우스에게 데려가 황금률이 뭔지 듣게 할 속셈이죠. 아 그런데 루프물이네. 지금 그 판사가 말했었잖아요. 뭐야 이거는? 아 반복하지 말라. 반복하니까 빨리빨리 가라고 이거 주는 거야? 안전할 걸. 그 치안 판사가 말했었잖아요. 만약 내가 또 실패하게 되면은 자기 자신을 제물로 바쳐서 또 과거로 돌아가는 그 포탈을 열어야 된다고. 지금 그 상황이 와버린 거예요. 내가 물건을 훔쳐서 황금률이 발동돼서 갑자기 황금 조각상들이 사람들을 쏴 죽여버렸다? 그런 거 같아요. 그럼 나도 법을 어기면 안 되는구나. 황금률을. 나 외지인인데. 타기. 야 다치겠다. 하루를 다시 시작했다. 뭐야 아이템은 그대로 가져온 거야? 가져왔네? 훔치거나 뭐 가져온 물건은 그대로 유지되나 보네? 그러면 내가 계속 훔치고 과거로 가고 훔치고 과거로 가고 이러면 물건 아이템 복사 가능한 거네요? 어? 아이템 복사 가능한 거네? 야, 약 가져왔다. 안 늦었냐?
What are you doing in here? Can't you
Okay,
see this woman
살아있구만.
is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called silphium, but that Culas cumulatus
그러면 이거
won't
순서에
give it
따라서
to me.
퀘스트 내용도 달라지고 그런 건가? 누구한테 말 거는 순서에 따라서? 받으세요.
What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you.
게임 복잡하겠다 생각보다.
Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary.
오케이,
How
율리아는
did you know
살렸어요.
she needed this exact thing and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of
예언자로 된단 말인가? 내가 미래에서 왔다는 거는 굳이 얘가 알 필요는 없을 것 같네요.
But how could you know she needed this exact medicine? And how did you even get it? I guess it doesn't matter.
살려줬으면
Just
됐지.
saved
왜
the
이렇게
person's
질문이
life,
많아?
And you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her and who she meant
뱀의
when she was
잔인한 검은
muttering
눈.
about that snake's cruel black
그래,
eyes.
저것도 들어야 저
In the
원흉을
meantime,
알 거 아니야. 누가
I'm
저렇게
happy to
했는지.
help you with whatever it is you need.
근데 독살했는데 왜 황금률이 발동을 안 했지? 대체? 내가 법을 어겼을 때 황금률이 귀신같이 발동했거든요? 근데 독살은 황금률에 속하지 않는 건가? 황금률에 대해 어떻게
A
생각하십니까?
city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands.
얘는 황금률에 반대할 수도 있겠는데? 좀 위험할 것 같은데?
I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been
나이비아는
filling
실종?
in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up.
나이비아 이야기를 더 듣고 싶군요.
Well, she used to run the clinic.
전주의.
She was a midwife, not a physician. But she was the closest thing we had down here.
삼파가
And she was
뭐예요?
good too. Until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed, and he's in constant pain.
환자 중에 심각한 류머티즘을 앓고 있는 사람이 있다. 관절에 염증이 있고 고통이 끊이질 않죠.
He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off, and I worry he'll end up losing his temper and lashing out. And you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace.
궁전 들어가는 길을 아무도 모른다고?
Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Let me know how you go.
류머티즘의 치료제를 찾아라. 뭐야 벌써 일어났어요? 괜찮으세요? 아니 약이 너무 잘 드나 본데? 한 번에 일어나네.
It's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
무슨 일이 있었던 건지 여쭤봐도 될까요?
As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's
아니.
just not safe for me to talk about it.
그거 알아야 제가 미연에 방지하거나 뭐 해결해드리거나 할 수 있거든요. 예? 누가 당신에게 독을 먹였는데도 어떻게 황금률이 깨지지 않은 건지 알고 싶어요. 그래, 이게 제일 걱정돼.
The golden rule.
아니 내가 직접 겪어봤다니까. 황금률 진짜라니까 얘들아.
But Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler.
말레올로스와 클레오디아.
Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it.
무슨 일이 있었는지 말 안 하시면 도와드릴 수가 없습니다.
Persistent as nemesis, aren't you?
당연히 말은 해주나 보네.
I can tell you, but it's a long saga.
확실하게 듣는 게 낫겠죠?
All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything.
여기 뭐 공통 단위가 1000데나리냐 다?
her asking price.
상인도 1000데나리 달라 그러고 쟤도 1000데나리 달라 그러네.
She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did.
안녕하세요. 말레올로스한테 돈을 빌리라더군요. 전 그 말에 따랐어요. 말레올로스가 1000데나리를 빌려줬다고? 아, 시작한 지 얼마 안 됐어요, 근데. 뭘 보고 그 많은 돈을 빌려줬던 거죠? 빌린 돈을 갚는 것보다 여기서 나가는 게 더 빠를 거라 생각했나요? 돈 안 갚고 튈 생각이었어요?
I'm not proud of it, but yes, I was surprised he agreed to it.
벌써 1시간 40분 지났다고요? 하지만 진행은 별로 안 됐죠.
I didn't question it. I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured
그냥 나가는 것만 생각했구만 얘는 무조건.
It wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out.
나가는 방법.
Do you want to know what it was?
뭔데?
Hemlock.
에? 설마 죽어서 탈출한다 이런 거야?
It's a deadly poison made from a plant. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time.
죽음은 탈출구가 아니다. 대화도 안 해봤구나.
She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes.
얘는 아우렐리아를 친구로 여겼던 것 같은데 아우렐리아가 배신했나 보네.
She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only he didn't seem
게다가 꼰지르기까지 했어?
or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized
그냥
that
팔았네.
Ethan had planned the whole thing from the beginning.
그 정도면 황금률이 깨져야 할 것 같은데. 지금 사기는 아닌가?
That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law.
계약에 의해서 확실하게 이루어진 그거라서 사기가 아니다 이런 거? 황금률이 보기. 황금률이 유도리가 좀 없네.
I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit,
황금률을 악용하네. 말레올로스는.
And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa, confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. but they forgot to confiscate one thing. My
덕미나리.
hemlock.
그럼 스스로 독을 마신 건가요?
I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it.
얘를 탓하긴 좀 뭐하긴 한데
I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid.
이제 어떻게 하실 거예요? 계속 일하실 거예요?
When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right
약을 안
back
주는 게
where
맞았나
I
그러면?
started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course.
아, 유감입니다. 제가 도와드릴 방법이 있을까요? 저 돈은 없지만.
I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule.
위험한데.
Maybe
얘는
it
그냥
won't be so bad.
나중에 또 과거로 가게 되면은 얘는 죽게 냅두는 게 나을 수도 있겠는데. 얼만데?
A lot. But it doesn't matter.
응?
I made a suicide pact with Ultius
어젯밤에
last night.
자살하기로 약속했다.
He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same
울표수도
trap for
똑같은
him
처지.
a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself.
아니 분명 나는 사람을 구했는데 왜 내가 개새끼가 됐지? 울피에스의 자살을 막을 방법을 알아내라.
I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are or why you seem so determined to help me, but
일단 자살 막긴 막아야겠죠. 근데 사실 자살 막을 필요가 사실 없는 게 얘가 독 먹고 죽었을 때 황금률이 발동이 안 됐거든요. 그러면 자살도 황금률을 어기는 행위가 아니야 딱히. 그래서 이게 필수 과제라고 보기는 좀 힘들 것 같네요. 그래도 뭐 죽는다고 한번 구애는 드려볼까? 구해드리면 또 정보를 얻을 수도 있으니까 일단 할 수 있는 건 다 해보는 게 좋을 것 같네요. 말레리오스인가 걔는 당선 안 되게 하는 게 중요한 것 같고 여기가 궁전이야? 팔을 찾거라. 이 안에 있을 거야. 따라오지마. 좋은 일자리는 없을 테니까. 뭐야? 뭔 소리야? 웬 채찍 소리가. 깃달린 화살. 화살 10개. 님도 황금 내봐야 정신차리. 응 아니야. 난 과거로 다시 가면 그만이야. 1000데나리 입수하는 방법 찾았습니다. 생각해보니까 그냥 저기 그 뭐냐 우리 치안판사님이랑 그 에퀴티아였나? 거기 보관함 한 3번 정도 털어가지고 과거 계속 왔다갔다 하면은 1000데나리는 모을 수 있을 것 같은데 판사님이 한 2-3번만 희생하시면은 좀 평화롭게 해결 가능한데? 되지 않을까? 판사님 한 3번만 좀 재물 좀 하세요. 네? 이 다 동네를 위해서입니다. 얘들은 무엇인가? 데나리오스. 이거는 남의 거 아니네. 이건 가져가도 되지. 개 나쁘다. 뭘 봐. 니가 아니잖아. 나쁘다뇨. 아니 어떻게든 사람을 살리려는 이 마음을 어떻게 나쁘다고 할 수 있죠? 모두를 살리기 위해서 네? 다시 반복할 뿐입니다. 근데 지금 가봤자 이미 뛰어내렸어. 저기 서있는데? 아직 안 뛰어내렸어. 야, 네 친구 안 죽었어. 죽으면 안 돼. 이거 그 프로메테우스 아니야 이거? 어이, 네 친구 안 죽었다고? 뭐야?
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia.
아니 너한테 볼리는 게
Welcome
아니라
to life under the golden rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far?
실은 울피우스와 꼭 이야기를 나눠야 합니다.
All right. Well, it was lovely to meet you.
너는
I
좀
look
있다.
forward to
넌
getting to know
나중에.
you better over the coming months. And if you ever
뭐야? 아니야. 야 옥타비아, 너 때문에.
No. Oh, Pierce, what are you doing? Get back from there.
네가 괜히 말 거는 바람에.
Lose your balance. You'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why?
어?
Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know.
아니야, 이거를 오히려 기회로 삼아서
They're hard for all
확실히
of us.
자살이
We're all in this
황금률을
together.
발동 안 하는지 알아볼까?
Please,
뛰어내리게 냅둔 다음에.
just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius, help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to
울피우스가
him.
죽기 전인데 울피우스를 걱정하기보단 우리 모두를 걱정하는구만. 뭐야, 내 마우스 어디 갔어? 울피우스가 자살하면 황금률이 깨진다고 생각하시는 건가요?
I don't know, but it's a crime for slaves to take their own lives. And a debt bondsman isn't far off.
오케이, 잘 자요. 얘기나 해보자 그래도.
Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
어떻게 말해도 근데 뛰어내릴 것 같긴 한데. 어디 해보시죠는 좀 위험하고. 울피우스 얘기 좀 할까요?
Let me guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a
아이, 네
crime
친구 살아있어.
against the Empire.
아니요, 고충이 그렇게 심하면 죽을 권리도 있는 거죠. 뭐가 문제인지 물어보려고요. 뭐가 문제인지는 뻔히 보이고 잘못된 거는 뭐 제가 알 바냐. 쟤는 지금 인생이 조졌는데.
You're not going to trick me. I'm no coward. I intend to go through with it.
계속 살아야 이유가 있지 않겠습니까?
Like what? I'm stuck slaving away for that culus cumulatis for the rest of my life. What do I have to live for?
서로 친해질 수 있지 않을까요?
You're just saying that to buy time. You must think I'm an idiot. I'm out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pierce, no!
율피스에게 자살 소식을 센틸라가 알면 어떻게 될지 물어보라.
I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord, that poor lamb.
자살을 했지만 황금률을 위반하진 않았군요. 뭘 의미하는 걸까요?
Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the golden rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it.
자살은 황금률이 아니다?
Mine.
그럼 확실한 것 같고. 야, 내 탓이냐?
That was not your fault. There's no way you
내
could have
탓이냐?
given him what
아니지.
he wanted. Moments after you arrived.
이제 어떻게 되는 거죠?
I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
죽어도 황금률 위반은 아니다. 뛰어내리라? 나 죽으면 어떻게 되는 거지? 이 속삭임을 따라가도 되나? 대신전 출입문 잠겼고. 아이씨, 한 번만 믿어본다잉. 어? 여기서 사귀면은 더 이상 안 믿는다. 속삭임 간다. 뭐야? 어? 바닥에 뭐가 있는데? 뭐야? 뭐야? 여기 어디야? 율피우스 시체는 어디 갔어? 누구세요?
Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100
아, 얘가 말레우스인가 걔인가?
That was either extremely reckless or impressively clever. Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me?
아, 말레올로스가 여기 있구나. 뭐야. 황금률 어떻게 생각하십니까?
The children's fable exploited by Sentius to scare us all into doing what he wants. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous
얘는
lie.
황금률 완전 개구라라 생각하고.
The person making a claim bears the onus of proving that claim. Can you do that? Can you prove the golden rule?
진실이란 걸 증명할 수 있는가? 실존하긴 하는데요, 진짜.
Nonsense. There's no way you can prove that. If it was real and you.
근데 내가 미래에서 온 거라는 걸 모르니까 얘들은. 뭐가 필요해요? 뭘 보여주면 믿을래요? 어?
Surely you're not one of those people who believes everything you read. As if a
글도
lie
믿지
could be
않는다.
transformed into the truth by the simple act of writing it down. What? Oh, I see what's happening here. Another poor, vulnerable soul taken in by Sentius's machinations. He won't get away with this much longer.
이쪽은 뭐 자신이 믿는 바가 너무 확실해서 말로는 설득 안 될 것 같긴 한데.
I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people, and that means giving them the freedom to do as they wish.
프리덤.
True, but that is simply because you are mistaken.
아, 내가 황금률 진짜 봐서 화살 맞을 뻔했다고요.
I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech for the election later today.
승리 연설? 아, 그럼 뒤에서 가만히 있었으면 승리 연설 때 뭔 말하는지 알 수 있었으려나?
I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city just as I've
자유를
been
누릴 수
promised.
있도록.
These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius's tyranny.
어떻게 자유를 찾아줄 생각이죠? 뭐 벽이라도 뚫으려고?
There's no such thing as the golden rule. It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. I'm afraid not. We're stuck down here together, for better or worse. We're all going to have to make the best of it.
일단 이만
I trust you
가보겠습니다.
can see yourself out. Through the door this time. There's a key just beside it.
오케이. 아, 근데 율리우스 시체는 어디 갔지? 지붕에 있나? 분명 뛰어내린 거 봤는데? 여기 뭐 얻어갈 만한 거 있나 찾아보자. 와, 집이 좋긴 좋구만, 이 양반. 근데 뭐야? 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 안에서 누가 울고 있어. 남자 같은데? 저희 나중에 또 찾아보는 걸로 하고. 지금 율리우스가 떨어져서 여기서 죽은 건가? 아니, 얘 어디로 떨어진 거지 도대체? 시체가 없는디. 아, 이거다. 열쇠. 저런 놈이 투표해서 이긴단 말이야? 말도 제대로 못하는데? 딱히 가져갈 만한 거 없는 것 같고. 율피우스의 편지. 율피우스가 잃어버린 사랑을 애도하며 쓴 글. 그러면 센틸라를 찾아야 되나 내가? 센틸라는 어떻게 찾냐? 율리아의 편지. 율리아가 포획자 말레올로스와 클라디오에게 너희 연놈은 지옥에나 떨어져라. 너희가 읽을 때쯤 난 이미 죽어있겠지. 미안, 살려서 미안하다. 이것까지 썼으면 이제 뒤지게 맞을 것 같은데. 그 외에 딱히 볼만한 건 없는 것 같고요. 먹고. 이 앞쪽에는 뭐가 있지? 그냥 아무것도 없나? 나가면 될 것 같아요. 밀어서 잠금 해제. 어디야 여기? 아, 검투사 여기 있는 거 보니까 그 치안판사 집 앞이구나 여기. 그러면은 율피우스가 자살을 하려고 한다. 정보를 얻으려면 그를 살려놔야 한다. 자살을 막을 방법. 센틸라를 찾아야 될 것 같은데, 율피우스를 살리려면. 황금률을 꽤 가능성이 가장 높은 사람을 간파한 뒤 센티우스에게 알려라. 아, 여기 다 정보를 이렇게 기록해주네요. 이런 게임은 막상 하다보면은 이것저것 정보 주입이 너무 많아가지고 다 잃어버리는데, 이렇게 간략하게 표시를 해줘서 뭔 일이었었던 건지 기억할 수 있어서 좋네요. 일단은 마을 사람들 전체를 좀 봐야 될 것 같아요. 그래도 주민들에게 사연을 물어 3가지 이상의 공통점을 찾아내라. 말레리오스, 화를 얻어라. 류머티즘 치료제, 확실한 해결책. 뭐부터 해야 될지 좀 힘든데. 타임 패러독스. 이제 난 내가 과거에 존재할 수 없도록 역사를 비틀어야 한다. 센티우스는 다음과 같은 예를 들어줬다. 내가 황금률에 위배되는 죄를 사전에 막아낸다면, 차원문이 만들어지지 않으면 과거에 내가 성립하지 않는 타임 패러독스가 생성될 것이다. 그러면 한마디로 내가 만약 저 율리아를 약을 줘서 살렸으면은 과거로 돌아갔을 때 다시 약으로 굳이 살릴 필요 없다는 건가? 화를 얻어라. 화를 어디서지? 알려준다. 에큐티하고 예. 활도 훔쳐야 되냐 설마? 활도 훔쳐야 되나? 약은 여기 또 있네. 훔치기 또 있고. 과거로 돌아갈 거면 그냥 아이템 대놓고 훔치면 되겠다잉. 일단 방향은 저쪽인데 넌 누구냐? 베르길? 주민 하나하나 다 말 걸어봐야 되네. 뭐야? 이렇게 잘생겼어.
Salve, and welcome to our little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. I hear we have you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did.
사연을 듣고 싶은데.
Well, I'm an architect.
건축가?
Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people, that kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place.
그런 거보다는 어떻게 왔는지나 말씀해 주시죠. 여기 어떻게 왔는지. 어떻게 왔는지 말 안 해주네. 나가는 법은 아세요 그럼?
How often the new ones ask that question. But I tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the golden rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway.
그 무슨 뜻인가요?
Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans.
황금률에 대해서는 어떻게
Some
생각하십니까?
people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me.
너무나
Like
인간적이라고?
it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called God doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or
얘는 딱히
this
황금률도
unknown
어길 것
God
같지는
doesn't.
않은데.
And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Good. Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways of dealing with unfair rulers. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler from power.
얘도 끌어내리려고 한 것
And
같은데.
it seems leaving may not be an option. Good question. It It's best if I say no more, but I hope you'll give it some thought.
존나 소근소근 말하네. 눈알 굴리면서.
Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision.
의견은 바꿀 방법이
My vote
있을까요?
isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking.
저 매수 절대 안 될 것 같고.
Oh, it means someone thinks I'm a sinner, and that I'm going to break the golden rule.
왜 그런 생각을 하는 사람이 있을까요?
Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my
동성애자?
preference for male company. Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagos, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong.
낙서를 누가 한 건지 아시나요?
It's not just graffiti. I have quite the
편지도
collection of
받아봤고.
handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists.
사교도?
Strange bunch. They insist there's only one God, and that he considers my nature as sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down
로마의
half
반을
of Rome
태워버리고
last year
잠적했다는 혐의.
and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule.
일단 알아봐야 될 것 같고 이것도.
I didn't expect that, but thanks.
이타적인 소리가 같은 소리가 있네. 나도 집 갈 거야.
I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them.
폭행은 안 되지. 폭행하면은 황금률 발동되니까.
Nice to talk to you.
뭐라고 썼냐 근데? 죄인이야. 얘가 활 파는 거 아니야? 활 없냐 너? 비난하는 쪽지. 손편지가 이거야? 얘는 건축하니까 딱히 활 같은 건 안 팔겠네. 상인들한테 한번 물어볼까? 너 데시우스는 바빠 보인다고? 왜 바빠? 뭐지? 진짜 바쁘니? 아무튼 안 바빠 보이는데? 한가해 보이는데?
Hey Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
응?
For the last time, Dacius.
얘가 활 만들어 달라고 했지 여러분니까.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
됐다.
Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the empire. I'm Dacius.
근데 얘한테 할 말 있나? 누가 베르기로 협박하는지 아십니까?
I don't, I'm afraid. But I did overhear Fabia telling Georgius she saw
파비아가
something.
겨울을
She was
기었어.
headed to the baths not long ago.
오케이.
Very well. Another time.
상인이라고 해봤자 쟤랑 쟤밖에 없는데? 저기도 한 분 계시네.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings. I'm George. It
게오르기오스.
gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most
이
extraordinary.
옷차림에 대해서 지적한 사람은 네가 처음이다.
Sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail?
제 나라는 아직 존재하지 않아요. 전 알려진 세상 너머에서 왔어요.
Then you are an explorer, like me. Wonderful. You must have many stories to share. I cannot wait to hear them. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps?
자, 사연을 듣고 싶습니다. 여기 어떻게 오셨나요?
My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forest.
아니, 어떻게 여기로 오게 됐냐고요?
A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself.
기억나는 부분이라 말씀해 주실래요?
I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drowning in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once.
술꾼인가 봐.
That compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa.
그럼 티베르 강을 타고 흘러내려왔단 말인가요?
Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent stranger. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am.
에키타에게 일부 시민이 강을 언급했다고 말해라. 왜 여기 의료점을 여신
You
거죠?
mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule, and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all?
그렇다고 할 수 있죠.
I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our heads. Don't you agree?
그런 거 같네요.
And there's
정상적인
another
생활을 하는
issue.
것처럼 보이려고.
If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at.
아, 저것 되려면 멋있게 보이려고. 그것도
I would
있고.
like to look my best.
오케이, 다른
Anything
얘기.
you like.
황금률에 대해 어떻게 생각하십니까?
Ah, yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is nothing new to me. It is how our gods operate. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The Golden Rule has merely brought it into focus.
우린 어떻게 하는 걸까요?
If we are to survive, I say we must
얘는 황금률을 잘 믿는 것 같은데 얘는 어길 것 같진 않다.
seven sages of Greece who said, avoid doing what you would blame others for doing.
간단하네요.
Doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act.
압니다. 직접 봤거든요. 그리고 제가 훔쳤거든요.
I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the golden rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do
얘는 옷에 미친놈 같아 약간.
for my clothing. Do they not?
좋은 건가? 의상 디자이너로서 좋은 건가?
That, my friend, is quite the dilemma.
어?
But after some
말레올로스로 한다고? 황금률 해제한다는데?
for my own. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Dominion.
아 얘는 그냥 겁먹어서 그렇구만.
Nothing comes to my mind, my friend.
아 애들 생각이 의외로 굳건한데?
This is troubling, is it not? I'm afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous though. Virgil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night. Perhaps you should ask her about it. I hope that our paths.
파비아로 이어지는 건 똑같네요. 그럼 파비아한테 가봐야겠구만. 근데 활은 어디서 오지? 활은 딱히 위치 표시도 안 돼가지고 이거 퀘스트 따라가야 될 것 같은데? 이거 뭐야? 어? 얘잖아.
You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths. Real nasty sort, with his face all covered up.
무기가 있다고?
And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's gonna break the golden rule.
일단은 이거부터 해결해줘야 될 것 같은데.
He's still in there, somewhere. I have to hide. Find me in this empty shrine when it's over.
너? 어? 안 된다는데? 거기서 만나면 안 될까요?
We don't have time for this. I have to go.
뭐지? 노우라고 하는데?
The shrine is collapsing.
억까 아니냐? 갑자기 성소가 무너진다고?
Fabia, no! Oh God, she's dead. Did anyone see that?
베르길 저 글 쓴 사람도 보려면 파비아한테 물어봐야 된대. 경고. 언제든지 성소가 무너질 수 있음. 하필 지금? 빵덩어리. 오케이. 루팅은 해야죠. 한번 슬퍼하고 바로 가네요. 일단 무기 든 사람부터 처리하자. 쟤는 과거로 가서 다시 살리면 돼. 무기 든 놈은 손전등으로 눈뽕을 매기면은 정신을 못 차리겠지. 그거 뭐야?
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is?
제압할 방법을 알아내라. 퀸쿠티우스가 누군지
I'm
모르겠군요.
not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you. I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute
얘가 킹커티어스 누군지 모르겠지만 제거하면은 황금률 발동하잖아.
So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood? You are not off to a good start. When I ask you a question, I expect an answer. Is that understood?
그러죠. 일단 대화를 해보자고. 난 과거로 가면 그만이야. 정복해내고. 너희는 누구? 여긴 뭐하는 곳이지? 우연히 여기까지 도착한 낯선 사람끼리 모인 작은 공동체입니다.
A small community. I was told Quinctius was a cultist, but I never thought he'd be foolish enough to lead me right to the heart of his mystery cult.
얘는 킹크티오스가 여기 교단이라고 생각하나 보네. 잠깐 그 의문의 교단이 대체 뭡니까?
Oh, don't play coy with me. I don't care if you're worshipping Bacchus, Magna Mater, or Christ.
나도 교단원이라고 생각하고 있는 것 같고.
Always sneaking off to your secret sanctuaries.
나 활 맞는 거 아니야?
Indoctrinating each other with your little mantras. The Emperor may have tolerated your activities up until now, but after what Quinctius did, those days are numbered.
뭐야? 잘못 짚으셨군요. 우린 광신도가 아닙니다.
You say that, but if you're not a cult, then why go to such great
아, 숨기려고 한 거
lengths to
아닌데?
keep this place a secret?
저희한테 비밀 같은 거 없습니다. 전부 여기 갇힌 겁니다. 저도 나갈 방법을 찾고 있어요.
So you admit you're not allowed to leave.
뭐지? 이사 금지령 같은 게 아니라 물리적으로 나갈 수가 없어요. 치우구가 없단 말입니다.
Threatening me is not going to help you. But in any case, that sounds an awful lot
화살 맞게
like a
생겼구만.
cult to me.
영락 없이.
And I saw the inscription saying, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." I take it this is some kind of mantra you all believe?
기도문이 아니라 경고입니다.
A distinction without a difference. You've clearly been indoctrinated into this nonsense.
아니 너무 생각을 끼고 보시네.
Where did you lot get enough gold to make all these
조각상?
statues?
실은 죄를 지어 황금으로 변해버린 사람들입니다. 아니 내가 암살자도 이딴 소리 들으면
Practicing human sacrifice too. You people disgust me.
아 말을 자꾸 왜곡하는군요.
Yes, yes. Because I'm the real villain here. It's all clear to me now.
아
The secret sanctuary, the indoctrination,
아 과거로 가자.
the human sacrifice. You're cultists. There's no doubt in my mind. What baffles me is how a person can believe in something with such zeal. They just can't see what they've become.
얘도 사람 말을 안 듣는 타입이구나 이거.
Still have a chance to redeem yourself.
킹크티우스가 누군데?
Do not waste it.
킹크티우스는 어떤
Very
사람인가요?
well. Here's what I know. He's a 40 to 50-year-old man with
눈동자가
distinctive
초록색과 파란색.
eyes, one green and one
오드아이?
He's also
과대망상증
known to
환자로
have
알려진
delusions of grandeur.
40대에서
The Emperor
50대.
says he and his cult, your cult,
어?
are responsible
로마의
for
절반을
starting the
불태웠다고?
fire which burned half of Rome to the ground and killed thousands in the process.
그 화재 사건인가? 황제께서 희생양을 찾고 계셨나 보네요. 고고학자에는 통찰력.
Who are you to challenge what the Emperor says? Were you there? Do you have spies and scouts all over Rome like he does? No, you do not. This is your last chance. Are you going to tell me where he is or not?
아니 누군지도 모르는데. 할 맞나?
No use to me. Do you have any last
유언? 어? 당신은요?
As a matter of fact, I do. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every
나 한 대 맞추면 어차피 니네 황금돼.
degenerates. And I can think of
아
nothing
참.
I'd enjoy.
과거로 돌아갈 생각이긴 했는데 내가 활 맞고 돌아갈 생각 없어.
Many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
활 맞고 죽나 쟤? 죽여. 황금 동사가 죽여. 죽이라고 왜 안 죽여? 죄송해요. 가까이 오지 말래. 어씨 나도 쏘네. 도망가자. 어디로 가야 돼? 센티오스. 여기 맞나? 이쪽 길 맞나? 길을 모르겠는데 여기 맞나? 여기 어디야? 여기 아닌 것 같은데 여기 어디냐? 런. 참. 왜 암살자야 갑자기. 킹크티우스부터 찾아야 되나? 근데 킹크티우스 있는 장소를 찾아줘도 죽이면은 똑같이 황금률이 발동될 텐데. 말 걸어줘? 또 말 걸면 뭐 줄지도 몰라요. 뭐야? 지금 시급한 문제가 있어요.
Sounds serious. I'm listening.
율리아가 죽어가고 있습니다. 루클레티아는 슬픔이 없어서 속수무책이 어서 갖다줘야 합니다.
Yulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that.
얘한테
I'll go.
대신할 수가 있네.
Once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
물어보든지. 그러면 킹크티우스부터 찾아볼까? 킹크티우스를 어디서 찾지? 어떻게 찾지? 뭔 수로 찾지? 침입자. 기존과 다른 창의적인 방법이 필요할지도. 베르기를 멈출 방법. 파비아한테 일단 가서 물어봐야 될 것 같은데. 파비아 죽기 전에 일단 그것부터 물어봐야 되는데. 우리 목욕탕 어디였더라? 여긴 또 어디야? 아우렐리아. 얘가 그 율리아 속인이 아니야.
Ah, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but
나한테도
the
사기치려고 그러네.
moment I laid eyes on you, I was intrigued. There's a light in your eyes I've never seen before. A certain learning and sophistication.
별 말씀은요. 미안하지만 흥미 없어요. 그런 말 해봐야 소용 없어요. 끔찍한 면을 이미 봐버렸으니까.
How dare you?
이럴 수가. 대화 끊겨버렸다. 아, 이 말하면 안 된대요. 다음 과거 때, 다음 회차 때 봅시다.
You stay away from my
알았어.
money.
알았어.
Cerberus lifts his triple head.
리베 이번
and
여기네.
lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
저 위에도 황금상이 있네.
Ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
대화 가능한가? 리비아라?
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come.
사연을 듣고
The
싶습니다.
bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
뭔 소리죠?
They never do.
황금률에 대해 어떻게
The
생각하십니까?
bloodless shadows. This is their
기 없는
punishment.
망령들? 혹시 도움 필요하신가요?
Help me. You cannot help me.
규칙을 보면은 뭔가 미쳐버리거나 실종당하는 건가?
A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more.
리비아가 기행을 보이는 이유를 알아내라.
You think you wish to know, but you do not.
전심이
It
아니야?
is better for you if you remain ignorant.
나가는 방법 아세요?
There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It
지옥의
leads
무거운
through
침묵을
dumb
기다린다.
silence to the infernal regions. The
모른다는 말을 왜 이렇게
nearby
돌려서
are
말씀하셔?
ignorant of the road before them.
나중에나 대화 가능할 것 같고. 전부 그대에게 달렸다. 모형 경기장. 나무로 만든 작은 경기장 모형. 1세기에 완성되어 지금까지 사용되는 베로나 아레나인 것 같다. 여사제를? 루크레티아. 훔치기면 안 되지. 훔치기면은 또 황금률 발동되니까. 리비아. 여기는 인형? 조악한 인형. 주인이 애지중지했던 것 같다. 여기로 가면 어디지? 여기 내가 아까 과거 가려고 뛰어왔던 것 아닌가? 그럼 이쪽으로 가면 목욕탕이라는 건데? 어디였지? 여기였나? 여기 어디야? 잉? 여기 어디지? 길이 복잡한데? 편지다. 리비아의 쪽지. 리비아가 남긴 시처럼 난해한 글. 이곳은 저주받은 곳이라 불리며 9평원에 걸쳐 몸을 편 티티오스가 내보인 내장이 찢기는 곳이기도 하다. 난 탄탈로스, 너 탄탈로스는 한 방울의 물도 마실 수 없고 나무에 손을 뻗으면 가지가 피할 것이다. 시시포스. 시시포스였다. 그 돌 계속 미는 얘. 익시오는 끝없이 돌며 자기 자신을 쫓고 자기 자신에게서 도망친다. 뭐지? 그리스 신화 죄인들에 대한 그 내용 아니야 저거? 여기 어디야 대체? 여기로 올려던 게 아닌데? 그녀가 널 인도할 것이다. 올라갈 수 있나? 살펴보기. 내 몸무게만 버텨준다면 타고 올라갈 수 있을 것 같다. 거 올라가. 어떻게 올라가지 이거? 올라가는 거 어떻게 하지? 몸무게 못 버티나? 못 올라가나? 뭐야? 못 올라가는데? 살펴보기밖에 안 되네요. 딴 거부터 해야 될 것 같은데 그럼. 목욕탕 가는 길 어디냐고. 파비아 살려야 되는데. 어디였더라? 저긴가? 위엔가? 어이씨 동굴 속은 길 진짜 복잡하네. 어디야 여기? 여기다 찾았다. 목욕탕 이쪽으로 가면은 그 활쟁이를 만나는데 활쟁이 먼저 만나지 말고 걔 어딨어? 파비아. 얘를 살려야 되는데 얘 어떻게 살리지? 저 신전으로 가려고 했는데 막아버리네.
A man arrived in the bath.
누가 베르기를 협박하는지 아십니까?
Are you serious? This is an emergency.
이거 지금 안 되네.
Are you going to help or not?
어떻게 해요? 무기도 없는데.
None of us do. The magistrate made us throw them all into the chasm. So now this man's bow is the only one in the city. You'll just have to improvise.
임기응변? 일단 노력해보도록 하자.
Thank you. He's still in there somewhere. I have to hide.
얘
Find
무조건
me in
뛰어가나?
this empty shrine when it's over.
이번 회차에도 얘 죽어야 되는데. 저기로 가지 마세요.
What? Why?
일단 내 말 믿어봐요.
All
오케이.
right, fine.
방침으로
Come and find me
인도하고.
my bakery instead. Please be careful.
오케이 일단 파비아는 살렸고 바로 쟤한테 가지 말고 킹커티오스를 찾아봐야 될 것 같은데. 킹커티오스였나 뭐였나. 야 너 눈깔 색깔 좀 보자. 아니야.
Hey Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
아니야.
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making
애들 눈색 좀 보고 다녀야 돼.
A fellow traveler from a faraway land.
눈 좀 봅시다. 아니야.
There are no other weapons in this city.
얘도 아니야. 얘는 검정색이었어. 40-50대 정도 된다 그랬는데. 근데 킹커티우스 위치를 알아도 알려줘도 되나? 황금열 발동될 텐데. 넌 누구냐?
Name's Rufius.
루피우스.
Watch your step. Can't talk long, got to stay sharp, but family's from Seleucia on Tigris, Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions, the 6th, the one they call Ironclads.
어떻게 오게 되셨나요?
Same way as everyone else.
말을 좀 아끼시는 성격이네.
Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious?
무기는요?
Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid.
말은 잘 듣네요.
Going to have to improvise now. If we have to.
황금률은?
I'll tell you this much. I hate the fact that my survival depends on the common sense of other people.
그게 무슨 뜻이죠?
I mean, all these people just bumble along like nothing's wrong, while we're one bad decision away from being wiped out. Like the last lot of people who lived here. Seems like I'm the only one ready for what's coming. Whatever
얘는
that
황금률
is.
어길 것 같진 않다.
And when it hits, it's everyone for themselves. You've been warned. I don't know. But did you ever
이 친구 좀 눈썰미가 있네.
some of these statues watching us when we're not looking? Like they're waiting for something. I don't like it. Of course I am.
투표는?
Meliodas.
아, 말레올로스가 거의 몰표네.
Protect his daughter in a city without sin.
일단 딸내미를 뭐가 됐든 간에 딸내미를 찾아줘야겠네.
No. Whatever.
뭐가 됐든 간에 딸내미를 찾아야 시장 저 뭐냐 치안판사의 위신을 회복할 수 있을 것 같은데. 딸내미를 보호하지 못한 것 때문에 애들이 다 안 믿는다. 물은 다 어디서 나오는 걸까? 그러네. 뭐야? 나 쳐다보잖아. 조각상이 그냥 나 쳐다보는데 대놓고? 고개 돌아가네 이거. 맞네, 고개 돌아가는 거였네. 와이씨 뭐야, 나 보고 있었던 거였어? 감시하고 있는 거네 그러면? 야 너도 나 보냐? 보네, 다 보네. CCTV네 그냥 말 그대로. CCTV요 CCTV. 쟤는 지금 당장 구할 방법 없으니까 냅둔다 치고. 센틸라를 어떻게 구하지? 일단 이거 한번 말해보자. 시민이 강을 언급했다. 이거 한번 말해봐야겠다. 지금 당장 할 수 있는 게 없을 것 같아 이거 말고는. 이거 왜 퀘스트 표시가 안 되지? 짠. 이거 왜 퀘스트 표시가 안 돼? 어? 이상하다. 이거 보여야 되는데 왜 표시가 안 되냐? 얘가 어딘지 내가 어떻게 알아? 얘였나?
Isn't the great
얘다.
temple majestic? A new face, are they?
너랑 이미 대화 나눴었어. 사람들한테 어떻게 여기로 온 건지 물어보면서 규칙을 찾아보려고 했는데.
Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed?
강얘기라는 사람들이 있었어요.
Yes. I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else?
일단 로마 화재를 다 겪은 것 같은데 거의 다 대부분.
But I think we'll need at least a few to ensure we're not just seeing.
다른 애들한테도 물어봐야 되나 봐.
Keep asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind and dictates we should be sure. Yes.
이거 하나 말해봤자 딱히 진전이 없구만.
Come back to me when.
얘한테도 한번 물어볼까? 얘 과거로 와서 다시 대화 될 텐데.
Malleolus isn't receiving visitors at the moment. It being her name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through.
다 나눴던 대화고.
He's not here.
어디 있죠?
Dunno. The little caput murder escaped her. Tell him the punishment he gets for coming back on his own won't be as bad as if I have to go looking for him.
벌을 주긴 주네. 오케이.
Whatever. Just remember, I'll be watching.
보자. 호라티우스랑은 얘기 다 하지 않았나? 뭐야?
If you're trying to goad me into an argument, it won't work. I'm a stoic, remember?
야, 이 목소리가 저기까지 닿겠냐 저거?
been anyone trusted to keep us safe, eh?
Why do I get the feeling you lot had something to do with Sentilla's disappearance?
That's it. Blame everyone but yourself.
어? 센틸러에게 무슨 일이 있었는지 알았네라.
You did something to that poor sweet girl. Not even the golden rule is gonna protect you.
울피스에게 사라진 센틸러에 대해 알아봐라.
As if I'd be afraid of you, little man.
리오스한테 가려면은 저 위로 또 뛰어가야 되는데 어차피 자살은 황금률 어기는 거 아니니까 가서 또 물어보자. 될지 안 될지 모르겠지만 가서 물어봐. 걔 오드아이도 찾아봐야 되는데 오드아이 누구지? 이쪽도 한번 가볼까? 뭐 있나? 어? 뭐야? 무슨 문이 있네? 열쇠가 없고 대신 여기저기 좀 들쑤시고 다녀보자. 밑으로 내려가봤자 뭐 없는 것 같고 일단 얘 보자. 제발 나한테 말 걸지 마라. 쟤한테 간다. 아씨. 옥타비아 이거 씨. 벼랑 끝에 선 기분인데요.
That's good, in a sense. If you're not on edge, you've not been paying attention. But on the bright side, once you've been here a few months, well, it's slightly less terrifying anyway. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I
비켜봐. 쟤랑 대화 좀 해야
used
된다니까.
to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out? I
비키라고.
still don't have any of the answers.
어? 얘한테도 사연 들을 수 있네 지금.
Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the
얘도
banks of
티베르
the
강도.
Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labor for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose.
어떻게 여기로 오게 된 겁니까?
Oh, much the same way as
맞네.
many
로마
others.
대화제.
When the fires
다
came
로마
to an
대화제를
end
겪었던
7
사람들인 것
months
같은데.
ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I
배에서
was pushed
밀려났다.
overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine.
순서가 다 있는 것 같은데 모든 사람들이.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all
대화제를
part of
겪고
God's plan for
배를
me.
타려고 했는데 배를 못 타고 강에 떠밀려왔다 그런 것 같은데.
If you like.
황금률은 어떻게 생각해?
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbors as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them
얘도
do
딱히
to
어길
us,
것 같진
then
않네요.
we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin. And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin?
인간은 원래 근본적으로 선해요. 솔직히 선하진 않은 것 같은데.
If that's true, then sooner or later, things are going to end badly for all of us down here. Unless, of course, there's some kind of divine intervention.
어느 정도 개입은 있을 겁니다. 지금도 개입해서 날 보냈잖아. 얘는 뭐 투표 안 하나?
Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here. Things are very difficult for us right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats. There were executions.
비밀은 지켜드리겠습니다.
Oh, thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that.
어? 얘 설마 얘 아니겠지? 불 저지른 얘? 눈 색깔 똑같지? 아니.
All right. Well, it was lovely to meet you.
그쵸? 율교수랑 대화해야 돼.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh, Pierce, what are you doing? Get back.
That's the.
What?
Why do you?
아까 했으니까 대화는 스킵할게요.
Help.
야, 이게 봐. 센틸러가 원하는 게 이런 겁니까?
You know about that?
자, 센틸러를 언급해.
How
멈춰.
is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone.
말씀 들어봤자 못 믿으실 겁니다.
Well,
아씨.
if you say so.
증거를 제시를
I
못하면은
don't
얘기가
want to hurt
똑같아지네.
anyone. I just want it all to be over.
제가 문제를 해결할 수 있을지도 모릅니다.
It's too late for that.
율리아 살았을 텐데? 그래, 율리아는 살아났어.
And she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that.
설마 걔가 못 살리거나 그러진 않았겠지? 그래. 실피움을 줘서 구했다.
Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off
빚만 더
both of our
많아졌죠.
debts.
잠깐만, 2,000 데나리가 필요하다고?
Yulia and I are in debt bondage to Malleolus. We might as well be slaves.
1,000 데나리 아니었어?
And that's how much it will take
우리 합쳐
to buy our
2,000인가?
freedom back. Oh.
아.
So it's my fault.
아니, 얘가 너무 비관적이네 이거.
You know what? Forget it. I am out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my
이런
love.
지기랄.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Pierce, no!
아하, 그래도 다른 선택지가 있다는 걸 찾아내긴 했다. 이제 어떻게 된 거죠? 오케이. 뛰어내렸을 때 시체 어디로 갔냐? 근데 시체가 안 보이는데? 강에 빠진 게 맞는 건가? 저쪽으로 내려가면 뭐가 있지? 뭐야? 낙사한 줄 알았네. 씨. 이쪽으로 가면 뭐가 있나요? 시체 안 보이지. 저 강 바닥 뚫었나 보다. 떨어지면서. 아, 여기 거긴가? 내가 맨 처음에 올라왔던 그 계단인가 여기는? 아, 맞네. 여기 거기네. 신전이네. 일로 와버렸네. 그러면은 뭐부터 해야 되냐? 말레우스 집 다시 들어가서 한번 살펴봐야 되나? 말레우스 집을 다시 들어가보자. 거기서 뭔가 흔적을 찾을 수 있지 않을까? 얘네가 센틸러를 실종되게 한 거라면? 아이고야. 진짜 센틸러에게 헛짓거리를 한 건지 그걸 알아내야 될 것 같다. 그리고 킹키오스인가? 걔 눈 오다이인에도 찾아야 될 것 같고. 눈 색깔 다르네. 어디서 찾지 근데? 광장에는 없었고 시한 판사님은 아닐 것이고. 일단 다시 실내 다이빙. 실내 다이빙. 아, 위치가 여기로 고정되네. 떨어질 때. 뭐야? 너 나 쳐다보냐? 얘는 안 쳐다보네? 얘는 쳐다보네. 율리우스 방 가서 율리우스래. 저 말레오로스 제 방 가서 찾아봐야 될 것 같은데. 뭐야? 여자잖아. 남잔 줄 알았는데.
I'm not supposed to be in here.
클라우디아 부인 아니었나? 뭐야 다 알고 왔는데 귀중품을 줘. 귀중 나 강도질하러 온 거 아니야.
Talk? What business could you possibly have with me?
왜 문도 잠그고 혼자 있는 겁니까? 사연을 듣고 싶습니다.
I think a better question is, why am I being interrogated by a stranger who just barged into my villa? I have
그치.
quite enough marriage trouble already, without having to explain to my husband why I'm receiving strange men in private.
논리에서 밀린다 제기랄. 센틸라가 사라졌는데 뭐 아시는 거 있습니까?
The dainty little thing from next door? Of course not. As much as I despise her father, I would never lay a finger on that poor, sweet child.
뭔가 숨기고 계신 것 같은데.
Well, I've had quite enough of this.
Domitius,
아,
come quickly. We're being robbed.
더 알아볼 만한 거 없나? 볼 만한 거? 도미티우스 안 오죠 근데? 뭐야 대나 2,600이나 있다고? 와 개비싸네. 아 돈 개많네. 얘네 돈 훔쳐서 한번 과거 갈까 그냥? 얘네 돈 한번 훔치면은 오랫동안 써먹을 수 있을 것 같은데?
Do I need to call Domitius? Get out.
아씨 그냥 나가래요. 침대가 2개 있긴 한데 더블 침대가 아니라 1인실 침대가 2개 들어가 있네요. 얘한테 뭘 알아내야 될 것 같은데. 근데 얘가 굳이 나한테 모든 걸 말해줄 의무가 없긴 하단 말이죠.
Did you just that?
센틸라가 사라졌는데 뭐 아시는 거 있습니까? 얘한테 단도직입적으로.
But as I always say, if Sentius can't protect his daughter, how can we trust him to protect this city?
뭘 숨기고 계신 거죠?
Look, if you're trying to find her, you may wish to check the systems beneath this
저택의
villa.
지하수죠.
Domitius says he saw a body there some weeks back. Of course, just to be clear, I take no responsibility for what happens.
잠깐만 눈이 초록색하고 파란색 얘잖아.
I trust you can see yourself out through the.
얘였네? 눈 초록색하고 파란색? 여기 있잖아. 일단 실종. 이거 찾아봐야 될 것 같아. 아닌데? 이거 아닌데? 지하 이거 뭐 찾아보라는 거 퀘스트 어딨지? 퀘스트로 안 알려주나 이거는? 아니 아까부터 왜 퀘스트 마커가 표시가 안 되냐 근데 이거 뭐 설정 잘못된 거 아니야? 아닌데? 원래 설정이 표시가 되는데 왜 안 나와? 여긴가? 이 집 지하에 수조에 들어가 보라 했거든요? 그럼 이쪽이다. 여기. 어? 뭐야? 야 허락 받고 들어간 거요. 무슨 일이죠?
Nobody's told you about Hannibal. Why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature.
괴물?
Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal.
그래서 어떻게 했죠?
What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others.
이야기는 잘 들었는데 그래도 들어가야겠어요.
Without a weapon? Well, you It's your funeral.
들어가는 걸 막진 않네요. 들어가도 되나? 진짜 뭐 있는 거 아니야? 오 진짜 있잖아. 씨 진짜 있잖아. 진짜 있잖아. 씨. 진짜 있잖아. 가짜인 줄 알았는데 진짜 있잖아. 씨. 무기를 찾아서 들고 가야 되나?
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little stirkers? If I cop an earful from Malleolus...
잠깐만. 무기를 구하려면은 강바닥에 무기 버리는 곳 있다 그러지 않았나? 너를 도와주마. 뭐야?
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them?
같은 날을 계속 반복할 수 있죠. 말씀 들어봤자 못 믿으실 겁니다.
You're toying with
다음부터
me,
그냥
right?
촌장한테 가서 물어보라고 해야겠다.
You're not kidding, are you?
얘는 그냥 믿는 거야?
The only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one.
Sisyphus.
Old King Sisyphus.
어떤 면에서요?
Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible punishment. He was forced to push a great boulder up to the top of a hill. Only, just as it reached the top, it would roll all the way back down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again for all eternity. Just like you.
아니, 걔는 잘못해서 형벌받는 건데 나는 왜?
Bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. Tantalus was made to grasp at fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were. Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you. And you just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in.
뭐야. 얘 왜 이렇게 순박해?
Oh, that's kind of you to say.
뭐지? 보통 이런 놈이 흑막이던데.
Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and
너무
if our
착한데?
conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend.
허허, 뭐지? 이렇게까지 착하다고? 그럼 무기 어딘지도 좀 물어봐야 되는 거 아닌가? 무기 찾아야 되는데. 그래, 도움 필요하다. 예를 들어 무기 같은 거 말이지. 반짝반짝 빛나는데요? 뭐지? 뭐야? 여기 왜 빛나는 거요? 뭐 있어? 이 위에 뭐가 있나? 사다리 같은 거 들고 해야 되나? 이놈들 무기 어디다 갖다 버리는 거요? 여기도 조각상이네. 뭘 봐, 이씨. 상자다. 상자 깡은 못 참지. 여기는 아닌 것 같고. 무기를 여기 어딘가에다 던져버린다 그랬는데. 지금 동선을 길을 보니까 이쪽으로 가서 저쪽으로 점프가 해서 저거를 먹을 수 있을 것 같은데. 되나? 여기는 농장이고. 보통 폭포 뒤에 뭐 있던데. 없냐? 아무것도 없냐? 폭포 뒤에? 없네. 폭포 뒤에 아무것도 없는 건 좀 실망이군요. 일로 가면은 여기 목욕탕 가는 길 아니었나 여기? 여기 목욕탕 가는 길인데. 상자. 화살하고 포도주병? 이 도시에서 마지막으로 남은 포도주일지도 모른다. 이걸 내가 가지네. 누가 술 필요하다 그랬었나? 술을 왜 가져가지? 점프 되냐 여기? 아 이거 안되는데. 될 리가 없지. 되겠냐. 이 손전등은 물속에서 이게 빛이 나오네. 아 근데 무기들은 뭐 오른쪽 거기다 뭐 던져버린다고 그러지 않았나? 어디다 던진다는 거야 대체? 떨어져 볼까 여기? 어떻게 되나? 이런. 떨어지면 죽는구나. 그럼 그 괴물한테도 들러붙으면 죽겠네. 그럼 걔 잡을 방법도 생각해야 되고 무기를 찾아야 되는데 그럼 그 활을 뺏어야 되나? 그 활밖에 없을 것 같긴 한데. 근데 괴물은 왜 있는 거야 도대체?
And if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just
여기서 저장됐네. 오케이. 게임이 이것저것 해야 될 게 많다. 물어봐야 될 것도 많고 만나야 될 것도 많고. 여기로 가면 어디였지? 아 여기 그 신당 가는 거. 그 암살자한테 가서 꼰질러 볼까? 제 킹크가 쟤라고? 근데 외지인을 죽여도 살인으로 되는 건가? 아니지, 외지인일 필요가 없지. 여기 들어오는 순간 여기 법을 지켜야 되니까. 루피우스. 저기 가서 한번 누군지 말해보자. 나와라. 일단 얘도 무기로 때리면 안 되는 것 같아. 저택이 있습니다. 이 길을 끝까지 가면 바로 나와요. 말레오로스란 이름을 쓰고 있죠. 진짜 살려주네. 고지고대로 말해주니까 살려주긴 하네. 어떻게 뒤에서 이렇게 팍 치는 거 안 되나? 그냥 보내줘도 되나? 이렇게 되면 결국 제가 활로 쏴가지고 황금률이 발동되는 건 똑같을 것 같은데. 아씨, 쟤 한번 지켜보자. 어떻게 되나. 저 녀석 어떻게 되는지 지켜본 것도 일일 것 같다. 이렇게 대놓고 활 들고 다니는데 애들이 가만히 냅두나? 목욕탕 안쪽도 궁금하긴 한데 얘 따라가는 게 더 급할 것 같네요. 저기 근데 걸어가실 거예요? 끝까지? 좀 뛰시면 안 되나? 바빠 보이시던데? 검투사 선에서 컷 나지 않을까? 아닌가? 검투사도 활 맞으면 죽을라나? 하나의 죄로 인해 여럿이 고통받으리라. 저기 있다. 생각보다 가깝구나. 근데 얘도 웃긴 놈이네. 사람 찾으러 목욕탕으로 들어간 거야? 아, 나 목욕탕에서 떨어져서 들어온 건가? 말이나 들어보자.
I'm here for Malleolus. Who might you be?
The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me.
화살 맞으면 절로 뛸 준비하고. 뭐 하는 거요? 오.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
아, 저 화살 맞으면 동상으로 변해네. 가자고. 저 쏘지 마세요. 뛰어. 센티오스 겁나 빨라 근데. 센티오스 희생하러 가는데 겁나 빨라. 와, 센티오스는 확실히 황금률 어길 사람은 아니긴 하네. 이렇게까지 열정적으로 하는 거 보면. 와, 이렇게 되는구나. 오케이. 말레리우스한테 보내는 것도 안 된다. 말레리우스에게 보내고 빠르게 파비아한테 과정을 물어보는 것도 나쁘지 않은데. 시급한 문제. 이거. 저거 하고 파비아한테 가서 암살자 처리한 다음에 빨리 도착하기 전에 파비아한테 제 괴롭힌 애 누군지 물어보는 게 나을 것 같다. 게오르기우스 필요 없고 일로 와서 저 빵집 아줌마를 자기 가게로 보낸 다음에 저기로 가지 마세요. 빵집을 보내고 여기서 말레리우스한테 보낸 다음에 빠르게 가서 빵집 아줌마한테 다시 대화를 하는 거지. 베르길 누가 괴롭혔는지. 빨리 해, 빨리. 저로 가. 나 바쁜 사람이요. 아니면 이렇게 해놓고서 제 도미 모시기한테 빨리 가서 암살자 온다고 경고해준 것도 되려나? 걔는 막았어요? 아직이요. 왜? 막은 거 아니야 이거? 막은 거 아닌 건가? 아니군. 애초에 대화를 나누면 안 되는 거였네 얘랑. 이런 식으로 보내면 안 되는 거였네. 아, 너 지금 바빠. 아, 이 녀석은 지금 하필이면. 눈치 빠르긴 하네. 눈치 백단이네. 어이. 갈레리우스가 심부름 완료할 때까지 대화할 수 없다. 갈레리우스? 암살자 이름이 갈레리우스인가? 에이, 제기랄. 미리 가있자. 텄어. 미리 가있자. 아, 여기 주점 아줌마랑도 대화를 나눠봐야 되는데. 빨리 와요.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
일어나고 뛰어오냐? 저기서부터 처음에. 야, 저기서부터 여기까지 전력 질주하는 거야? 영감님 힘도 좋네. 빨리 와, 빨리. 나도 미리 여기 서 있어야지. 바로 가진다. 자, 넌 다시 가. 뛰어 임마 빨리. 이렇게 하고. 그러면 쟤를 암살자를 어떻게 설득해야 되지? 대체? 미리 먼저 말을 걸어서 암살자가 와있다고 말을 해줘야 되나? 갈레리우스가 심부름을 완료할 때까지 대화할 수 없다. 갈레리우스가 누구였지? 나 왜 애들 이름을 까먹지? 갈레리우스? 맞다. 여기 있던 여자랑 다시 대화해보자.
Oh, another one fresh out of the baths, I take it.
사연을 듣고 싶습니다.
Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation?
뭐야 얘 딱히 할 말도 없네?
I trust you can see your...
뭐야 애초에 말할 거리도 없잖아.
Keep an eye out for Centilla, would you?
갈레리우스가 누구였더라? 잠깐만 갈레리우스 누구였지? 시민 명부 갈레리우스 평민 농부 빈민가. 나 갈레리우스한테 뭐 퀘스트 받은 게 있었나? 활을 얻어라. 이거를 하려면은 어디로 가지? 아, 얘 또 만났네. 그래. 쟤 너무 착한 것 같아. 아, 갈레리우스가 쟤구나. 잠깐만. 갈레리우스가 저 부탁드려준이었지 이름. 아이 왜 착하다고 해놓고서 이름도 기억을 못해 사람.
Fresh meat, huh? Mariolus.
센틸라가 사라졌다는데 뭐 하신 거 있나?
I don't abduct women. They come to me, and they keep coming back. If you know what I mean. You don't know Sturkus. Whatever.
수소문에도 딱히 알아내는 것 없는 것 같고 얘네한테. 수주 안에 뭐가 있다는데 수주로 들어가려면 괴물을 조져야 되는데 일자길이라서 괴물 따돌릴 수도 없고. 그러면 무기를 얻어야 되는데 무기를 든 사람은 쟤밖에 없는데 내가 봤을 때. 이거 뭐야? 둘리의 쪽지? 자신의 무죄를 주장하는 내용이다. 아 맞다. 죄수도 있구나 여기.
Hello? Hello?
뭐야?
My name's Dooley. I live here now because I got in trouble and they said they had to lock me up.
무슨 짓을 했길래?
I don't know. I don't remember things so good.
보물을
I
찾아서.
think it's just because I was looking for treasure. Yes. But I wasn't. I was just looking.
그게 다요?
They said I did it more than once, but I can't remember things so good. Then they called me mean names.
몇 대 맞았나봐. 앞니가 없는 것 같아.
They called me a liar, Billy.
골칫거리.
Yes. They said I have to live here now, and gave me this letter. But I'm not good with words. Do you think you could read it for me?
편지? 센티오스가 돌리에게 보내는 편지. 치안판사 센티오스가 돌리에게 무단 침입을 막기 위해 가뒀다고 설명하는 내용의 편지. 몇 주 전 자네의 보호자 한니발이 사망하여 공격에 처한 사실은 측은히 여기는 바네이만 자네가 알아둬야 할 중요한 사실이 있다네. 보물은 존재하지 않는다. 자네의 기억력에 문제가 있으니 그저 잘못 기억한 것일지도 모르겠다고. 더 중요한 사실은 자네가 모든 시민의 접근이 엄격하게 금지된 수조를 포함해 여러 곳에 무단 침입하다 적발되었다는 것이네. 수조? 수조에 침입했다고? 괴물 있던데? 거기에 들어갔다고?
What does it say? My treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after it. He said he always would. But then he died. It was very sad. He said if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious hidden away. He gave me this key and made me promise to keep it safe until I found the treasure. But I couldn't find it. All I remember is he said something about the cisterns. But when I went up to the high one, they put me in here. Now nobody looks after me. Except my friend Galerius.
키티아였나?
And
열쇠를 주시면 어딜 여는 건지 알아볼 수 있겠군요.
said I shouldn't
아니
give it
어차피
to
열쇠 쓸
anyone
데도
I
없으면
didn't
줘 그냥.
But
아이씨.
maybe you could
열쇠 얻으려면 탈옥 도와줘야 될 것 같은데 일단.
Then I would trust you a lot.
시안 판사님께 꺼내달라고 부탁해보죠.
Here, and I can give you the key.
갈레리우스를 치안 판사로 만들어요?
Hannibal said it was in the cisterns.
이게 뭔 씨.
I can't remember what it. Bye bye.
갈레리우스를 치안 판사로 만들라고? 뭐야 나 지금 퀘스트 마커 화살로 해놨구나. 퀘스트 마커가 좀 버그나서 지금 사라진 것 같은데? 저기로 가지마 너는. 저놈은 잘못하면은 또 리셋되니까. 갈레리우스 어딨냐. 일단 갈레리우스한테 말 걸어보자. 갈레리우스 일 없어서 여기저기 싸돌아다니고 있을 텐데. 저건가? 아니야. 저거지. 반일하고 있네요.
I saw you slide down that rope before. Very and strange too, since that device you used is exactly the same as one I've been
눈썰미가
working on
좋네.
for weeks. There I was thinking I'd invented it. Anyway, I'm sorry to ask, but is there any chance you'd be willing to do me a favor? Well, I've been trying to get this rare flower from the rock spire in the middle of the lake. It's too steep to climb, so I hung a rope over the lake and made this pulley device, only I couldn't quite summon the nerve to use it. Do you think you could use the device again and try to get that flower for me?
오. 왜 필요하죠 근데?
I don't really feel comfortable talking about it.
연애담이야?
I'll tell you everything if you get it for me. All right?
오케이.
Thank you. It would help me a lot. There's no rush, just whenever you get a chance.
오케이 일단 꽃부터 갖다 주고 그 다음에 물어보는 게 낫겠다. 꽃 어딘데 저기? 뭐야? 타고 내려가다가 이거를 중간에 끊어서 하라는 뜻이야? 아니 무슨 내가 무슨 아 내가 무슨 요원도 아니고 저거 이게 타고 가다가 여기 중간에 떨어지라고 이거를? 저기 딱 도착하라고 저기에다가? 말이 됨? 너무 한 번에 훅 가는데? 타자마자 내려가는 수준인데? 너무 빨라. 여기서 타자마자는 좀 그렇고 살짝 까비. 거의 다 됐는데 살짝만 더 빨리 내리면 되겠다. 3트인가? 3트? 3트면 충분하지. 아니 뭔가 잘못된 거 아니야? 야 밧줄 잘못 설치한 거 아니야 너? 응? 밧줄을 잘못 깔아둔 거 같은데 이게 안 될 리가 없는데. 주인공이 스태미나 같은 게 없어서 다행이야. 미친 철인이네 그냥 철인. 어? 뛰고 수영하고 떨어지고 뛰고 수영하고 떨어지고. 어? 그냥 점프로는 안 될 것 같고 오히려 그냥 점프로 닿을 수 있으려나 저거? 안 될 것 같아. 그냥 점프는 안 될 것 같고. 오케이 예스 됐다. 별것도 아닌 거를 이거 씨. 이리와 꽃딱대.
Ah, it's you again. Hope you're settling in, friend. Now, what's on your mind?
원하시는 꽃을 가져왔습니다.
Brilliant! You did it! Well done! This is going to make her so
아,
happy.
에퀴티아야?
Equitia, I mean. Now I just have to figure out how to give it to her.
허들이 좀 높은데? 사제님 아니었나?
Give her the flower and confess I've been madly in love with her since the moment we met. But on the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that the consequences could be terrible.
내가 돗자리 좀 깔아줘야 되나? 최악의 경우가 뭐죠?
You mean aside from her execution? You see, Equitia is a Vestal priestess. Meaning she's taken a vow of chastity, the breaking of which would be an extremely serious affront to the gods.
여사제라서.
Capital offense. Even if she was just suspected of being unchaste, it could lead to her execution. Unchaste Vestals get buried alive.
아니 근데 그런 마음을 품어?
For good measure. At the same time, she's just so kind and graceful. I feel so much love for her that if I don't tell her, it'll burn a hole in my chest. I don't know what to do. What do you think? What would you do?
에퀴티아에게 솔직하게 털어놓은 게 좋을 겁니다. 끔찍한 결말을 기다린다고요. 이것도 한번 확인해봐야 돼. 이거 그냥 고백하라고 확인한 다음에 범죄인지 아닌지 알아봐야 돼.
Now that I hear you say that out loud, I hear how
얼마나
great
미친
it is.
짓인지 알겠다고?
Maybe I
뭐지?
need
직설적으로만 하니까 오히려 정신 차리네.
What I need is a go-between. Someone who can tell her how I feel, find out how she feels without risking her life. What do you say? Do you think you could help me one more time?
알겠습니다.
Wonderful. Now, all I need you to do is give her the flower and tell her it's from a secret admirer.
꽃 주는 거 정도야 뭐 쉬우니까.
I'll keep my distance, and that I just want.
근데 갑자기 꽃 받는 순간 황금률이 깨진다. 그런 범죄지.
Thank you. Come back as.
오케이. 돌아올 수 있을지 모르겠지만 일단 꽃은 전달은 해드릴게. 이번에 만약 황금률이 깨지면 저 센티오스 저 양반은 연애담 때문에 뜀박질하게 생겼네.
A new face, Ave, and made vest.
누가 당신한테 이 꽃을 전해달라고 했습니다.
Oh, how lovely. It just happens to be my favorite too. Who do I have to thank for this?
짝사랑이 주는 거고 이 이상의 행동할 생각은 없다고 했어요. 그저 사랑받고 있다는 사실을 알아달라고 하더군요.
I see.
어?
So it's from Galerius then.
눈치 팩다.
Of course I do. I think everyone in the city knows. That man is a wonderful human being and my favorite person in the world. But he is the least subtle secret admirer you could imagine.
다 티 나나 봐.
The way he looks at me with those puppy dog eyes. Plus, he's been trying for weeks to get his hands on this flower. He went to so much effort too. suspending that rope above the lake, inventing that pulley device all on his own. He'd just stand there each morning, looking at the flower, trying to summon the courage to seize it. Oh, my heart.
그럼 뭐라고 전해줘야 할까요?
Tell that adorable oaf that my Vestal's vow of chastity ends once I turn 36. So if we ever make it out of
아,
here,
정절
he
맹세가
doesn't
따로
mind
있어?
waiting
기간이
a
있는
few
거야?
years. Then tell him I love him too. I hope so.
잘 됐네 이거는.
See you again soon, I hope.
근데 얘가 지금 몇 살이지? 뭐 어찌됐든 뭐 그냥 짝사랑이 아니라 뭐 서로 좋아하니까 괜찮은 거 아닌가?
Fortune smile on you, brother. Ah, it's you again now.
에기테에게 꽃을 전달했습니다.
Thanks. What did she say?
당신이 보는 줄 알고 있던데요. 이렇게 말해주라네요. 36살이 되면 결혼해도 된다. 자기도 좋아하고 있다.
Venus, that is the best news I've ever heard in my life. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea how happy you've made me.
단서
I
해결
wish there
짝사랑.
was something I could do to thank you properly, but I don't have much to offer you. All I can do is tell you where there's a secret stash of coins you might be interested in.
동전 은닉함?
In the rock tunnel near the stairs, there's a little doorway set into the rock. Inside, if you look carefully, you can see a chest. Unfortunately, one of those golden huntress statues is blocking the path. I'm not game to move it. If you can figure out how to get past it, I reckon there might be a small fortune waiting for you.
황금
I
조각함?
hope that helps in some way.
그러면 일부러 범죄 저질러가지고 걔네 움직이게 한 다음에 그거 먹어야겠네?
Well, it's a long one and kind of sad, but I don't mind telling it. I'm a farmer, always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and two little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along, demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. I sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground.
곡식을
The car
털렸네.
was empty. That was my first encounter with the legions. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young. It was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These legion thugs just took whatever they wanted. One night, when my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I knew who they were, and what they wanted. I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle. But there were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was reduced to ash. My sisters dead.
와우.
And they left me alive.
너무 힘든 삶을 살아오신 거 아닌가 얘는?
Still burns whenever I think about it. Yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion against the Romans. Unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So, then I found myself being transported all the way to Rome to be sold to the highest bidder. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was. I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out.
화재.
You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous fire broke out in Rome. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. Never seen anything like it. Human beings.
이것도 단서 되는 거 아닌가? 화재랑 저 로마 화재에서 다 그거 했던 것 같은데.
Next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river.
그리고 낯선 사람이 강에서 끌어냈다. 강도 강인데 낯선 사람이 끌어냈다는 것도 좀 눈에 띄네요.
That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says.
얘도 센티우스를 믿는 편은 아닌 것 같고.
Of course. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then what if he's right?
의심하고 있지만 무서워하고 있고.
Turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right back where I began. But don't you worry, Nemesis is waiting, and he'll get his one day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you?
가끔가다 본심 나오는 스타일인 것 같은데.
Thanks, friend. I knew I liked you. Anyway, that's enough.
그다음 에키티아에게 일부 시민이 기억 상실을 언급했다고 말하라. 낯선 사람 낯선 사람 나왔네.
I bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the elections stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. That's good enough for me.
선거 소집을 요청하라. 둘리는 왜 갇힌 겁니까?
Sentius put him there. Poor Dooley was just wandering around looking for some imaginary treasure. Now a magistrate accused him of being a thief. That's nonsense, of course. Dooley's the most harmless man you'll ever meet. But Sentius really has it in for him, for some reason. Gladly.
일단은 센티우스한테 가서 그냥 내가 둘리 풀어달라 그러면 되는 거 아니냐? 아니 나는 지가 선한 얘인데 날 안 믿겠어? 응? 내가 필요하다면 풀어줘야지. 나한테 일 시켰으면은. 어딨어 센티우스.
Citizen, we're finally alone.
대화는 이전에도 했었다.
Wait, if I understand correctly, I must have entrusted you with figures.
깨지는 걸 막을 수가 없었어요. 제가 깼습니다. 사람의 목숨을 살리려고 그랬습니다.
Look now, I assume you sought me out again for a reason.
둘리를 좀 풀어주셨으면 하는데요.
You mean Duilius? Releasing him is out of the question, I'm afraid. That man is a liability we simply cannot afford.
아니 내가 풀어달라면 풀어달라는 이유가 있을 거 아니오. 지가 불러놓고서도 이거 이런 식으로 나오면 협조를 안 해주면 곤란한데.
Look, I can see where you're going with this. You think me cruel. I assure you that is not the case. You may not be aware of this, but it was not so long ago, during the Republic, the law of the 12 tables would have required that he be killed as soon as he was born, owing to his deformities.
12표법.
Here we see to it that he has food, water and shelter, and most importantly, he is able to continue living. A privilege that would be taken away from all of us were he to be released and commit the crime of trespass. The man has no self-discipline, poor comprehension of what is going on around him, and is an incorrigible rule breaker. I will not jeopardize the lives of my people so that one man can go free.
어쩔 생각 없구만. 그러면 대가리를 교체하는 수밖에.
Thank you.
갈릴레우스로 바꾸더라도 근데 이번 회차에서만 바뀌고 과거로 돌아가면 또 똑같이 제로 될 것 같은데. 갈릴레우스를 치안판사로 만들 방법을 알아내라. 치안판사에 출마하도록 설득해라. 선거를 앞당길 수 있을지도 모른다. 아니면 말리우스 쟤를 대가리로 만든 다음에 둘리 풀어달라고 요청하는 거 하는 거 그것도 되긴 될 것 같은데.
On your best behavior, I trust.
그 이거 기억을 잃었다고 말하는 사람들이 있었어요.
I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. What else?
다른 거? 강둑에서 낯선 사람.
Yes, I also had such an encounter. What else?
아니 뭐 얼마나 더 달라는 거야.
Let me ask you this.
어?
Did you happen to encounter a stranger?
세 가지 이상 세 가지 이상 찾았구나.
before you arrived here?
만났어요. 젊은 여자였죠.
Did you happen to catch her name?
여자 이름? 카렌이요.
I see. And was
두건?
this
두건은 안 쓰고 있었던 것
by
같은데.
any chance wearing a hood?
모자 달린 옷을 입고 있었어요. 그거 어떻게 하신
I've
겁니까?
seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think
목욕탕으로 따라와달라고. 지금 목욕탕 가면 안 되는데. 거긴 위험해요. 방금 암살자가 왔거든요.
What? How could you know that?
아 나도 조치법을 몰라서 방치한 건데.
Instead of doing something about it. Please go and stop him and come back to me once when no longer
아니
in
이놈들이
danger.
무기도 없는 마을에서 무기 있는 사람을 막으라는 게 이게 쉬운 줄 아나 이거.
Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
마찬가지인 새끼야. 목욕탕에 지금 나쁜 놈인데 지금.
Navia or Kabash?
No sign of any.
쟤를 막을 방법이 있나?
Well, we do have a newcomer.
다시 가서 한번 대화를 해보자. 불의를 잘 털어보자. 뭔가 다른 방법이 있을지도 몰라. 대화 선택지를 잘 선택하면 되지 않을까? 좀 기발한 방법이 필요할 수도 있다고 그랬는데. 조그만 원형 성소에서 기도를 올리고 있더군요. 여기서 나가서 왼쪽 건물로 들어가면 됩니다.
Thank you for your service to the Empire.
거짓말하면은 일단 되긴 되는데.
But you'd best make.
이걸로 일단 해결된 건가? 아 성소로 들어가면 아 무너져서 죽는구나. 아 이렇게 처리하면 되네. 아이 간단한 걸. 아우 거짓말하면 되는 거였네 그냥. 잘 가시고. 이놈이 죽는 꼴을 봐주마. 그리고 활도 내가 회수하마. 쓸 때가 있거든. 화살을 몇 개 들고 온 거야? 응? 속았쥬? 우르르 쾅쾅.
Curse you, cultist.
안 죽는 줄 알았네. 오케이 나무활. 이렇게 하는 거였어 이거? 아이씨. 오케이. 내일 황제의 칙명. 과대망상증에 빠져있다. 이것도 가져가고. 이걸로 제 말레우스 어떻게 협박이 될 것 같은데? 이 종이로도? 협박 가능할 것 같은데? 오케이 이거 하나 해결했으니까 이제 여러가지 풀리겠다. 얘 뭐야 바닥 청소하시는 거죠? 밀가루 빠는 거 아니죠? 저 성소에서 비극적인 사고를 당했어요.
Accident? So, it's over?
사고는 사고지.
Oh God, it's such a relief. I really thought we were all going to die. I do have a question though. That shrine, the one I was going to hide in, did you know it was going to collapse?
제가 수긍하면 살인을 인정하는 거겠죠.
I don't understand. Oh, I see. I should probably keep my big mouth shut then. Sorry. I promise, nobody else will ever know what you did. But I know. That was really clever.
내가 고의적으로 무너뜨렸다고 생각하는 건가 이러면?
I'm glad you're here. Oh, speaking of which, welcome. I'm Fabia. Sorry I was a bit frantic before. Need anything?
이거 물어봐야지.
Terrible shame that is. Maybe this'll help. Late last night, I was cleaning my oven when I heard some noises outside. The forum's usually dead quiet at that hour, so I came out to see what was going on. To be honest, I thought maybe poor old Dooley had got out of his cell and was snooping around again. So I put my head out and saw someone in front of Virgil's shop. I couldn't tell who, it was too dark. I called out to them, but they just turned and ran off without a word. All I remember is they ran past a lit torch and the light glinted off something metallic. Armor, I think.
가보시면은 군단병 중 한
I suppose it could
명이겠네.
only be one of three people. Horatius, Domitius or Rufius. I hope that helps.
저 단서라도 얻으면 되지. 황금률 어떻게 생각해?
I try not to worry about it. I mean, if people are nice to each other, we won't have anything to worry about, will we?
너무 긍정적이고.
Thanks. And I like your teeth. They're so white. And your clothes. Oh, I bet
걔는
my
이미
friend,
만나고 왔다.
and I'm sure he'd love to chatter about the golden rule with you too. He'll be just across the forum in his shop.
얘는 이제 사연 들어볼 필요 없죠. 어차피 다 그 단서 3개 캐치했으니까. 뭐야? 이게 왜 남의 말을 엿듣고 있어 이거? 어?
You there. I'm sorry to trouble you, but I couldn't help but notice that fine bow
아
you're
맞다.
carrying.
활 얘도 활 잡고
You
있었지.
ain't managed to get your hands on it, especially in the light of our dear old magistrate's ban. But I'm impressed.
나 뭐 과거로 가서 다시 얻을 수 있으니까 얘한테 줄까?
I wouldn't dream of trying to buy it from you. I have no use for a wooden bow myself. But I would like to propose a joint business venture of sorts. Tell me, do you have any idea how people here end up as golden statues?
조각상들이 살아나 시민들에게 금화살을 쏘더군요. 어차피 믿지도 않을 텐데 뭐.
I was the only one to figure it out. In any case,
뭐야 얘 이미 알고 있다.
supposedly one or two of those arrows is enough to turn a full-grown man into gold. Now, of course, that is a travesty, a terrible, horrible waste of human life, which has to be stopped. And yet, on the other hand, I can't help but think of a tale told by that Greek fella Aesop, the goose that laid the golden egg. With the ability to transmute organic matter into gold, one could create infinite wealth. Use your imagination. Golden animals, insects, trees and plants. The Midas touch without the drawbacks. We are talking riches beyond imagining. And even if we were to split
사람만 아니면 금으로 만들어서 팔아도 상관없다 이건가?
half of infinite wealth is still infinite. Interested?
그 황금알 거의 이야기는 경고하려고 쓴 이야기 아닙니까?
Look, I might have skimmed over that one, but don't be so pedantic. Are you interested or not? Excellent. So the first question is, how do we get our hands on one of those golden bows? Now, I have a plan, but first, tell me, are you familiar with the story of the goddess Diana?
모르니?
No problem. Allow me to explain. Diana is our goddess of the hunt, the moon, and the underworld, depending on who you ask. The one thing priests and poets agree on is that she carried with her a golden bow and a quiver of golden arrows. And it just so happens that there is a shrine of Diana in this very forum, with a prominent statue of the goddess herself. And would you like to guess what she's holding in her hand?
황금알?
Precisely. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent in that temple staring at it, trying to figure out how to retrieve it without breaking you know what. Oh, gods no! If you tried that, we'd all be dead within moments, I'm sure. No, here's what I propose. You give your bow to me, I cover it in a thin layer of gold leaf, and we create a replica of a golden bow. Then you enter the shrine, extinguish the braziers, and under cover of darkness, swap out the fake for the original. It's not theft exactly, it's more of a trade. But make no mistake, this is a dangerous path, and there's no way of knowing where it will lead.
그래도 하나 확실한 거는 얘는 황금률을 어기진 않겠다.
Now, you must have questions. Ask away.
그러니까 고의로 어기려고 하진 않을 것 같다.
When Prometheus stole fire from the gods and became a hero to all mankind, do you think he was worried about the
그
danger?
프로메테우스를 들먹여?
Only because he was silly enough to get caught.
논리 봐라.
Because the gods would see you, of course. Hence my proposal. I'm more of an ideas man, whereas you're obviously. So.
해당 행동이나 공포 요소가 마음에 들지 않으면 거절해도 됩니다. 뭐야? 공포 요소가 있어? 공포 요소가 있다고?
This is a quality weapon. Now, bear with me for a moment. And here we are, a gold leaf bow.
금칠 잘했네. 획득.
Now I've gone and unlocked the shrine of Diana for you, so as quick as you can, head on inside.
오케이,
It's just at the end of
지하에서
the street on the left.
왼쪽
May the
건
gods not watch over you.
저쪽인 것 같은데. 오케이, 오늘은 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 예. 공포 파트 들어갈 타이밍인 것 같은데 내일 이어서 해야지. 재밌었고요. 여기까지 할게요.